Twice in 1 week. Yeah, we're spoiling you. But some might say it's overkill. But when it comes to track and field, this is the place to be. Leighton and I are back. We're streaming live again on both channels over on his channel, Mr. Analyst rather, and Sports Talk at my chat. We'll run that on the screen. Make sure you give us some support and like the videos and get involved. We have a lot to dive into today. Brussels Diamond League completed today, Lausanne a couple days ago, and everything else in between. And of course, your comments, be a part of the show, and keep those things coming. Leighton, how you doing? A lot of people have been asking for us. Some were saying that we should do this regularly.
Yeah, we should do a podcast. Not a bad idea, but
Yeah.
we'll see logistically how that works out. Because I know you're a busy man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty busy now, even though I'm no longer a full-time employee. But the reality is that a lot of things. Look, if it's possible,
We'll do
I'm
it.
open to it. Yeah. So I'm not averse to it at all.
Cool. So there's a lot to talk about. I know a lot of people want to talk about oblique, break down the race analysis. We'll get to that. But I think we probably should start with Brussels. 100-meter today. Melissa Jefferson Wooden just
Again.
continues with a dominance there, which if I check the records, it may be joint second biggest margin in 100 meters with, I guess, in the Diamond League with Shelley. Only Elaine had a wider margin some years ago. Your thoughts on that, your thoughts on Shelley and Fraser-Pryce as well.
Well, let's start with Melissa. I mean, another dominant win. I mean, the only phase of that race where she was not in first place was the first 10 meters.
Right.
Where Sha'Carri Richardson came out of the blocks for the first time ahead of everybody. But from 10 meters on, it was all Melissa Jefferson, and she continued to dominate, pulled away from the field after 60, I think it was, and just pulled away.
Yeah.
10:76 in virtually still conditions again, which tells you the kind of shape she's in. So not really much of a surprise. The only surprise is if she had run something slower because she's been running consistently fast all year. Someone asked me today, why is it that she's able to run as fast for as long as she has been all season? And I use the example of Shelley and Fraser-Pryce in 2022, where she opened with 10.6 and ended with 10.6. So it's about how you manage your program. It's a strategic setup of speed work, speed endurance work, weight training, strength training. And it's kind of like the example I used is like you have a fast car. Right. And you're driving it fast from morning. And all you do when you're not racing is that you tune it, you put gas in it, and you tune the engine a little bit different in case to get a better performance. And you keep pushing it fast all year. For others like Shelley, for example, and others, the periodization. I won't even use that term too much because a lot of people get confused when you talk about periodization. Right. The thing about it is that what under another set of the other system of how coaches get their athletes ready is that they start with a base before competition, strong base, weight training, over distance work, endurance work. And then you gradually build towards a peak in the season. That's not what Melissa is on this year. Melissa is on the former system that I spoke about, where she started fast. All they've been doing is tweaking and strategically implementing strength endurance work throughout the course of the season to help her to continue to maintain that pace. So it's not really much of a surprise what she's been doing because it's been done before, and just in the recent past as well. Shelley and Fraser-Pryce did it when she ran 7 times under 10.7 for the entire season. So it's not unique and it's not strange in terms of how athletes can prepare. So for what she's done, what she did today was just another dominant performance that continues to, in the mind of many, make her the favorite to win in Tokyo in 3 weeks' time. For Shelley, I had a conversation today with somebody about Shelley where, like many people, they think that Shelley is waiting for the right moment to strike. That's not happening. The reality is that Shelley and Fraser-Pryce is no longer, we used this term before in the previous show, she's no longer godlike. She is a mere mortal now. And you saw that today. Shelly, for those who don't understand, Shelly's a front end sprinter.
Right.
She dominates the race from 0 to 70, and then she holds on for the last 30 meters. We've seen that over the years where that Daphne Skipper's closed on her, Camila Jetta closed on her,
Right.
other athletes, but she was too far ahead to be caught. No, she's not getting that lead anymore because her start was ordinary today. In fact, Melissa Jefferson and Shakari got out ahead of her. And we've seen that all season. She doesn't get out as quickly as before. Her acceleration is not what it used to be. So she's not ahead of the field at 60, 65, 70. So today she was at 60. She was in second place at 65 and 70, at 60, 70. And then she was passed. She moved from second to fourth in the last 20, 25 meters of that race. So this has become the norm for her this year, which suggests to me that not much will change in 3 weeks, even if she runs faster, like say 10-9, because 11-17 today is not where she'd want to be 3 weeks out. So if she runs 10-9 in 3 weeks, chances are she'll be third or fourth in a semifinal and not guaranteed to make a final, depending on how the draw works out. So I'm as much as I'm unwilling to accept that reality myself, the reality is that Shelly, if she makes the final in Tokyo, it would be an accomplishment given how she's raced all season. Because I think she's only broken 11 seconds once this year.
That one,
at the national championships. So there's nothing there to suggest that she's going to get the better of Kayla White, Tina Clayton, Shericka Jackson, if Shericka Jackson is running 100, and of course the big two. So, it's, for me, if she makes a final, it will be a nice way to pass the baton on to whoever is going to assume the mantle next. But does she have a shot at a medal? Right now, certainly doesn't look that way.
Yeah, I want to say a few things on this too. And thanks everybody for joining us on the channel. We get to some of those comments in a second. I see All in the Game on mine, and Dell and Candy and a bunch of other people. So thanks for the support. Don't forget to like. It's hard. You'd be hard pressed for me to say anything bad about Shelly and Fraser-Pryce. I always start by saying the greatest 100-meter champion ever. But there's always one thing that I think the great athletes sometimes need to time right. And I'm trying to be careful of how I say this, because I just never like to see when the all-time greats are on top and then, you feel like they stick around just a little bit too long, and the other people who look up to you, who you're an inspiration to, they find themselves beating you, and it never really sits right with me. But I guess you don't decide when an athlete decides to stop. She clearly still loves the sport, and I mean, it looks like the last year. I would love for her to make the final. I wouldn't put my money on it. That's the difficult thing, and it's hard to say that, because if it's one athlete that usually goes to a championship and find a way, she does. She always finds a way, and so maybe she might find a way to get into that final. It would be a fitting place to bow out, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, the field is deep this year, and Shelly has come back to the field. It's not like in previous years where, even last year, you saw her run a cup. She ran 10-8 last year. And, I believe that had she not had those cramping issues in the semifinals in Paris last year, she probably would have made the final. So, but for this year, I haven't seen a Shelly and Fraser-Pryce that looks like she's likely to beat anybody who is among the elite of the elite. She was third at national championship. She ran 11:04, I think it was. I'm trying to remember. It was early in the season when she opened at the stadium in Kingston. She had another meet over 11 seconds again. She came to trials, didn't look particularly convincing in the heats, but then made the top three. And even though I picked her to be in the top three, the reality is that had Tia Clayton not picked up an injury, the chances are she probably wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
So, and of course today, just further validates the feeling that you know time has finally caught up with the pocket rocket.
Right.
The fuel tank is empty. I mean,
Yeah.
the fuel tank is closer to empty than full. Um, I think it will be fitting she bows out with a medal, perhaps, but it's going to be likely from a relay
Yeah.
because I don't see it being an individual medal in Tokyo. So
No, I
given
don't
what
either.
we
And I
see,
think, yeah. And
yeah,
you made the solid point about how her entire career is always going out in front of everybody. And sometimes people underestimate that kind of pressure that it puts onto the other athletes. If she's
hmm
gone now, your race plan usually goes awry if you're trying to run her down. And so it's one of those things. But yeah, if she can get a medal on the relay, which I think Jamaica should, we've talked about that. If they can
yeah,
execute well, they should be in the mix. The United States there, Great Britain, I think, will come really good. I think they should be there. You never know. The Dutch could even sneak something if they get it right. But I
yeah.
imagine Jamaica, yeah.
I think with the weaponry that Jamaica has at its
Yeah.
disposal, while not as potent as it was in the past, when I think they should have broken the world record like in 2021. Um, I think that the Clayton twins clearly will at 1082 and 1081
Right.
they bring a lot of value. And even though Sherika Jackson might not be back at her best, I think with those four, I
Yeah.
do believe that if they get to stick around, they should be looking at a silver medal at least. I
They
mean,
should. Yeah.
So
They should.
so yeah, so it is likely that she will come away from the World Championships with another medal. But
Yeah.
in terms of the individual event, individual hundred, I don't think I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately.
Right. And,
So
and we must say, this does nothing to the career.
no,
There's nothing to prove. It's not a indictment on her in any way. It's just, in
still the
fact,
greatest.
in fact, it's ridiculous that she can do this. That
Yeah,
shows
no,
how she's just not normal to be there.
this
Let me
is
get to this.
18
Yeah.
years. This is
Yeah.
18 years.
Yeah.
You know,
2007, she runs in Daegu on that relay, right? And
yeah,
everything from there on, and never missed a major championships. It's utterly a stellar career. All in the game is saying Sha'Carri. He's basically saying she's not medaling. He listed out her times here in Tokyo. I agree on that too. I think
yeah, Shane Bentley,
that
yeah,
that too is also gone. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Your
So
thought, your thoughts on that, or it's just yeah,
yeah, it's basically what I've been saying. I mean, the
yeah,
bronze is between Tina Talu, if Sharika runs 100,
yeah,
Kayla White, and Aliyah Hobbs.
yeah,
I think Dina Asher Smith is also out of that mix as well. I think like for her as well, I think her best days as a elite sprinter are behind us now. I mean, she's
mm,
not as far off as Shelly is, but remember she's a lot younger than Shelly is.
right,
But Dina, I don't think Dina is a factor anymore, unfortunately, because I like her. She's a really
yeah,
pleasant young lady and thing. But in terms of where the speed is these days, the young ladies are carrying it now. And of course, Talu being the exception because Talu is 36 years old, but
yeah.
she's running well. I just don't see her beating Tina or Kayla White for bronze medal in Tokyo.
Yeah,
But
I don't see it either. Yeah,
mm.
yeah. So it's one of those things. Yeah, thanks for that. I made a mistake. 2000 was Japan. No,
But
wasn't
Japan,
it?
Osaka,
Yeah,
no man,
yeah. It was
2007 was
yeah,
Osaka, Japan.
Osaka. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was where Bull got
yeah.
silver in the 200 and
Yeah,
Tyson
in the
gave
two
one.
and Tyson gave one. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Daegu was in
2011.
2011. Yeah.
Yeah, when Shelley did medal and Bolt did medal that year in
Yeah,
100
yeah,
either. Shelley came fourth, Bolt false started.
yeah. Thanks for that. I see a lot of people coming through. There's some other interesting stuff. I know you guys. We get to your comments and we try our best to get to them as well. Some interesting stuff happening for Jamaican athletes today too. Antonio Watson running in the Invitational. It's good to see it's not a stellar time, but he's been plagued by injury. I suspect he would think it would be something that will at least get him to run a couple races and maybe feel good about the World Championships. He did say in the post-race interview that it was a great race for him. A bunch of guys got out of the blocks quickly, but he had to try to get himself into the race, and he did win. So
yeah.
yeah.
It was a close race ahead of Borley, but the thing about it
Yeah.
is that this is the first time he's under 45 seconds this year, I
Yeah.
think. So this will be, as defending champion, this is pretty encouraging. He probably would have realized when he watched Ja'Cory Patterson run 44.05 later on in the meet that he knows that he still has a lot of work to do in the next 3 weeks to get to that level if he can. Because it's not just a one-off race. He has to go through the rounds and then run a fast time in the final if he gets there. The thing about it is that he had some injury issues early in the season. And then we saw him at a couple of meets. He came to the trials and ran one race. Then he ran, I think it was one semifinal run. He pulled out, but then put a statement out on social media saying that he was fine. He wasn't hurt or anything. But I think they've been handling with kids' gloves this year because I think whatever injury issues he had or might have been going through were impacting his preparation significantly enough that he's only run a handful of races all year. He probably would have needed a few more races, but as defending champion, he gets that bye. So, it's a blessing in disguise also because had he not been defending champion, 44.89 does not get him in.
Yeah, it's not good enough for the standard, right? So,
it's encouraging for him. So let's see what the coaching staff at Racers does between now and next month, middle of next month, to get him into some kind of shape, because maybe he can run himself into shape as well. I mean, if he runs 3 rounds, maybe by the time he gets to the final, he's ready to run 44.3 again. And this year, 44.3 could be competitive.
It could. It's a tough situation. You have Ja'Cory Patterson looking good. There's a bunch of guys there, but you just never know. I mean, I want to see what Hudson Smith eventually, if he gets into the right shape.
I have Chris Bailey.
You got those guys. Even Dobson.
Dobson, and you have Nene from South Africa.
Exactly.
I think he's hurt though, but I'm not quite sure. But I think Nene picked up an injury. But I mean, before that, he was running really, really well. So Antonio may have to find himself running 44 or 44.1 to be in the mix. But we'll see. You have 3 weeks to go. And the good thing about it that it doesn't start on the first day like the 100-meter sprinters.
And also, we shouldn't forget Jerome Ricketts too. I think he
absolutely
has a chip on his shoulder.
And 44.14 in his last meet
too.
It tells you that he's moving in the right direction as well. So there's a lot of people that Antonio would have to go through to defend his title if he does defend his title. But I think he has
a Samuel Congo too. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys. So
he probably has to take off maybe a half a second or more between now and look, I'm not saying that maybe that's part of the program for him to really peak at taper in 3 weeks' time. So let's see what happens then.
I don't know. It's an interesting one. You feel for the lad. I think there's no pressure on him, I suspect. Even if he thinks about it, you just do your best and then see if you can get things right next year and lead into a championship the year after. He's still young. How old is he? Was he 22, 20, something like that? Yeah.
He's early 20s.
Because he's early 20s.
Just a few years ago, he's at high school. So he's not ancient, in track and field terms, that is. So I mean, next year's a non-championship year as well. So he'll have time to, whatever issues are plaguing him, he has time to address those and then go to championships in 2027 and then Olympics in 2028. When he should be about 28 years old, I think, and he'd be most likely in the peak of his peak physical conditioning by then. So, it's something that, look, he's already world champion. You can't take that from him. And so it's not like he's under pressure to prove himself anymore. He's already done that. So maybe the next big step for him is to try and win an Olympic title or Olympic medal. Right. And so he would have 3 years to prepare for that from this year, 3 years to prepare for that. So, give him his talent and give him what we've seen him do last year, not last year, but year before the World Championships. It's not unlikely that Antonio Watson could go into LA a 43 athlete and be among the contenders. You know?
No, you do hope so. You do hope so, and so on. I'll get to some more stuff from Jamaica. I see a bunch of people. I just shout them out before we get to comments. I see Gary. I see Norris. Miller was there. Courtney on your channel. I don't. Yeah, consciously yours. Andrea. A few other people there. I think. And Angela Foster. She doesn't like us tonight, but it's all good. Mullins did well over the discus. Jamaican discus in great hands still, despite of impending departures from the Olympic champion and maybe cycle changes for, we haven't seen the best of, some of the guys that were there before. So, yeah.
Hey, look, Ralford is. There was somebody who made a comment on. I did a video about Ralford's mark as well as Tyrese Taylor just a few days ago, and somebody commented, and rightly so, that when you throw in Oklahoma, that field is an open field. It's not like Excelsior High School in Jamaica, where it's an open field, so the air currents carry the discus a lot farther. But having said that, Ralford has consistently thrown over 68 meters this year and last year as well. I mean, this year he threw 68.96. He threw 69 to win NCAAs. He threw 69.66 to win again today. And I think he had a 69 a little bit early. I think it was like in April this year.
Yeah.
So he has consistency over 69. So, going into the World Championships, he's the fourth best thrower in the world. There are 11 men this year who are over 70 meters, and he's ranked fourth with that 72.01 that he threw last week. So, he's in my mind, he's in the mix. He beat Alekna today. Remember, Alekna threw 75 meters at that very same venue.
Yeah.
So he beat Alekna today, and he beat him in college as well.
Yeah.
So he's now 2-11 against Alekna. So, but the thing about it, the fact that he's beaten him before is not an issue for him. And as I was saying before we went on air, is that I don't think Ralford puts himself under pressure to win medals at the World Championships in Tokyo. Why I think Ralford he's having had a conversation with him at the national championships. Ralford is an academic. He's studying industrial and systems engineering, and I get the sense that's where his mind is at. That his career in professional career. I think track and field is more of almost like a sidebar right now. So because even after the meet today, where he's won with 69.66, he said that he's not sure if he will qualify for Zurich, but then he still has to decide whether or not he goes to Zurich because his class starts on Monday. So you see where his mindset is not going to Zurich to win Diamond League. His mindset is going back to class. So that so I don't think going into Worlds for him, I don't think the pressure would be as intense on him to come back with a medal, even though I believe that if he throws his best, he probably will end up on the podium. So I think that pressure I don't think is on him as much, because I think his mindset is more from an academic standpoint. And he's a very mature young man. He's only 22 years old, but when you talk to him, he sounds like somebody in his mid-30s. He is very settled, very focused. And what he said to me at the championships was that he had an internship to do this summer, and he's going to have to try and find a balance between the internship and preparing for the World Championships. And clearly, based on what we saw today, that he found a way to find that balance. And you're coming in against a strong field and winning with a big throw like that.
Yeah, I think it's ludicrous to think he's not capable of delivering. I mean, he's beaten the world record holder, as you mentioned, a number of times. The field was stacked. You got Kristen Shea, Daniel Stahl, Matthew Denny. Those are not slouches. The Olympic champion was in the event as well. So the competition in men's discussions is high quality every meet, and he shows up and he delivers. I think the kid is good. I hope he starts school then hops on a plane to Japan and win something, get a medal.
Yeah, because here's the thing about it. He had a 69-meter throw early.
Yeah.
And Alekna took the lead. And it was on his sixth throw that he got the winning mark. 69, 66. So you see, he clearly knows how to handle pressure.
Yeah.
He clearly knows how to find balance between the different phases of his life. And I think with that kind of mindset going into Tokyo, I think there's no reason to believe that he won't deliver. And when I said deliver, I don't necessarily mean winning a medal, but certainly he will perform optimally when he gets to Tokyo. So because he may very well throw centimeters and lose.
That could happen.
Because the three guys ahead of him, one has thrown 75, one has thrown 74, and one has thrown 73. So if those three guys come to play, he may very well throw 70 and find himself looking on from the outside because of how stacked the field is in this last couple of years. But I think, having said that, I think the pressure will be more on those guys more than it is on him.
Yeah, I agree. Let me see if we get any comments here that relates to that. Courtney says Mullins needs a sponsor ASAP. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Throwers don't get sponsorships very often. I mean, these days it's
very tough.
Good.
Yeah, it's very tough. Berto Yardi says, "What's happening with Shanika Ricketts? Should we be worried, Leighton?"
One of the things I know about Shanika and Kerry Lee Ricketts is that she was fourth today. For 14:29.
Just fresh off that travel too. She was in Nakak too, right?
Yeah, she went. Just went straight from Nakak over to Brussels today. So the fatigue may be a factor. But when I spoke to Kerry Lee earlier this year, in fact, I spoke to him at trials in June. He says she is right where he wants her to be. Because one of the things that we do know is that regardless of how well or how poorly she's performing, when I said poorly, I mean relative to what we expect from her during the course of a season. When it comes to championships, she does deliver. I mean, the last World Championships, she finished just outside the medals. I think it was fourth, but it was one of our best jumps of the year. I think it was 14:89 or something like that. So I mean, Cuba has found another jumper in Lorenzo. The field gets a little tougher. The Olympic champion Theodore Fan was down the field again today.
Right.
I don't know if she's fully healthy. I haven't spoken to her in a while. But I think Shaniki will come to the championships in Tokyo ready to compete. And I wouldn't be surprised if she probably, because nobody's gone 15 meters so far this season.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think the world lead is 1490 something.
It's still I think it's still from Perez Hernandez.
From Perez Hernandez, So if Shanika comes in to Tokyo, expect her to probably jump somewhere near there, if not further, and be among the contenders for medals at the end of the day, because that's what happens. She always brings her A game, unless she's injured. She always brings her A game. Sometimes the A game is not good enough because there are people who are just better on the day. But generally, I think she'll come into Tokyo ready to perform and jump something much farther than we've seen from her so far this year, because that's the trend that we've seen over the past decade from her.
No, I agree on that. And the field was stacked today. The likes of Povea finishing down in fifth, and and she's top class. Jasmine Moore, I think she would have been upset not to go into the championships in both events. So, and she's a top class athlete as well. So I mean, it's one of those things. There's high quality people everywhere. So I don't know. I think I'm not worried about Ricketts, to be honest with you, because she knows the big stage. Tia Lafan maybe, but she's been coming back from injury, and so it's not quite clear if she's actually back fully fit. And
because I don't know. I need to probably reach out to her before the World Championship start, because I knew that when she won at the Olympics last year, she did that with that injured knee, which makes the performance that much more impressive. Right. Because if people are noticing, she was actually using a brace on her knee for a few months because she had done surgery on the knee to repair whatever damage out there was, and she was wearing a brace on her knee for several months. So
Right.
maybe that might have impacted her preparation, because she hasn't been particularly impressive so far this season by her own standards. So maybe that's an indication of where she is because of that previous injury. We're not quite
Right.
sure. Or maybe she's just her husband, because her husband is her coach.
Yeah, he's the coach,
Um,
right? Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, she will probably be. They probably have her on a program where she'll probably be a lot better in 3 weeks' time. So we don't know, but she hasn't looked particularly convincing so far this year,
Yeah.
based on what she usually does.
Yeah, and then I think the first jump she did this year was in the World Indoors, right? Which was like
Yeah,
right after, and
yeah,
so it probably is a tough thing. And we all know the the jumps are hard on the joints, and if everything is fully functioning, you can run into some significant problems. And same like how people are asking about the likes of a Yulimar Rojas. A Achilles injury takes a good year to mend, and it's not easy. And
yeah. Rehab,
so, yeah,
rehab from Achilles. Remember now,
yeah,
people Achilles is not muscle. There's no
yeah,
blood
it's
flowing to
tendon.
the
Yeah,
tendon, so
yeah,
it takes a long time to heal, because the blood flow to
yeah,
tendons and ligaments is
yeah,
much lower than to blood flow to muscles.
yeah,
So what you're finding is that healing a tendon takes a long time, and it's easy to get a relapse, because you
yeah.
might be doing rehab and then it becomes injured again, and then you have to probably start all over again.
No, you have
So
to take it delicately. It's not
yeah,
a joke. I did that surgery a few years ago, and you really need to spend 9 to 12 months to reduce the chance of re-injury. And I know there's all these new technology. You put your foot in these chambers and all that stuff. But that's one thing to get your body ready. To just be normal, to be an elite athlete again is something else, and
yeah,
it's not.
takes a
Yeah,
work.
so, yeah, it takes a
Work,
lot.
because I mean, because while you're rehabbing, you're doing pool work, you might be swimming.
Yeah, yeah,
The low impact work with these chambers, these low gravity chambers that they use on treadmills and stuff like that. I think Frano probably used word is that he used something like that for Kishan Thompson
ah,
a few years
mm,
back to get rid of those shin injuries that he was suffering from time to
yeah,
time. So there are these techniques and technologies that they're using. The thing is, though, when the body decides it needs more time to heal, it's just that's what it is. You can't do about it.
yeah. You
And
can't do anything about it.
as I mentioned before, tendons and ligaments take forever to heal, because they're what heals muscles is the blood flow
Yeah,
to the muscles, and the tendons and ligaments get very little blood flow, so it takes a lot longer for those to heal and fully recover from whatever injury or whatever surgery you might have to undergo.
yeah. No, it's hard to call. I mean, the Cubans could sweep. They may not. It's one of those interesting things. It's been a what. They have three top class athletes. I didn't think Velasco would do what she did today. 14.72. That's a big
Yeah,
jump. She could
a
have
PB for her today. Yeah,
yeah, personal best. Perez Hernandez, we know she could go 15 meters whenever. And
and
so
go there.
the rest of them have to start, thinking about. And then you got to think there's an age difference too, right? So you think about Ricketts. She's born in what 1992. So
Yeah,
the others are born like in 2002 and 99,
yeah,
and so it's not at least for the Cubans themselves. They're
yeah.
younger. So
Paris
yeah.
Hernandez is what 22 or 23.
Yeah, I think she was born in 2002, so she's young,
Yeah,
and she's the youngest of the lot. I think the others were like Velasquez was born in '99, and
yeah,
so
but
and I
I
think
know
Povea
I
is
know
she's older
Pope
too. She's born
older,
like
I think.
'96, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, but still, yeah, and yeah, it's always a factor there, because the explosiveness and elasticity that you require sometimes for the triple jump.
yeah. 23 all in the game is confirmed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
hmm
So you're looking at a situation where that might be a factor as well. But the thing about it is that I based on my conversation with Curly over the years,
yeah.
I trust when he tells me stuff.
All
When
right.
he tells me that, since he said that Shanika is where he wants her to be. That was in June.
Yeah,
Um, I think in 3 weeks probably see the best of her in competition.
sure. Yeah, there's a couple. Let me get one from I think Carlene Walker on your channel was saying Shelly's on another level, and you guys are missing the point. She isn't here to medal, but she's here she's writing her story. I'm not sure if that's directed to us or to the comment section. She has a documentary coming out. Yeah, we know this. I think it's important. I just want to clarify that Leighton and I always say we have everything for Shelley. There's no more praise I can give to Shelley and Fraser, right? The superlatives. You run out of superlatives. Yeah.
I'm on the record on multiple platforms saying that I think she's a GOAT without question. Yeah. But the fact is that when reality sets in, it's just what it is. I am not her public relations people or marketing people. I just talk about what I see. Well, and what I see is what we talk about. I mean, it's not.
And you have to separate heart from what you see.
Fact. Yeah. We're not trying to denigrate her in any way. I mean, the reality is that, just like when in 2017 I knew Bolt wasn't going to be the person that we saw, or even up to 2016. And we saw that, he didn't have the speed anymore. He didn't have the motivation anymore.
Right.
I mean, Shelley's motivated. I think, as I said before, I spoke to Dr. Joe Brown, and she described Shelley as a seeker, wherein the minute she sets one goal, she achieves one goal.
Right.
She sets herself another one. So, maybe she has another goal, given the fact that she didn't get to compete in her first final in God knows how many years in Paris last year. She probably thought it would be nice to set a new goal to get to the final in Tokyo. And maybe that's her goal. I mean, she says she wants to medal. We all know, and I think she knows too, that her chances of winning a medal are very, very slim.
Yeah.
So, but I think she just wants to prove to herself that she still got it. But, I mean, 11.17, look, 11.17 in the context of female sprinting, it's not a bad time.
It is.
But compared to 10.6 and 10.7s and 10.8s that we've seen all year, they just not able to get above those numbers. You just have a look at what those numbers say. People lie and opinions are faulty, but the numbers really never lie.
Yeah.
And what numbers are telling us is that 11.17 gets her nowhere near the podium in Tokyo.
Yeah, I mean, 10.8 you might struggle, but but if you're closer to that, you have a chance, and we're not seeing that right now. But we'll see. Here's another one before we touch some stuff. Carlton is saying, "Great show, guys. Do you think Asher Smith has peaked in the 100 meters? More so given the depth of the competition today, and lost some sharpness given her years at the top level, even though she's young." Dina. It's interesting. I always give Dina credit. I know Leighton might have he'll say something else, but it takes a lot of guts to leave your longtime coach. Then you fly out and you go to Texas. And I think it's admirable that if it doesn't work out, she leaves. But it's tough. I don't know if she's been around for a while, or is her last major medals in Doha and individually? Yeah, so I mean, outside of being on a relay thing, individual medals, I don't know what to make of it. I think it happens. Yeah.
Look, one of the things with Dina is that Dina was at her peak a few years back when she was European champion and she was world champion, but for some athletes, the end comes a little bit more quickly than it comes for others, and I think.
Right.
For Dina, what we've seen from her over the last few years is that she just doesn't have that speed anymore. I mean, remember, Dina was a 21.8 200-meter sprinter.
Right.
She ran 22.14 to win at the British Championships, and she almost lost to Amy Hunt. Right? So she's wherever she's gone. She went to Texas to work with Julian Alfred and Rashidat Adeleke, and she didn't think it was working for her.
Yeah.
She did some over distance work in the background season, and you would have thought that I honestly thought she would have come back and run some fast times, but she really hasn't. I think her best this year is what did she run a 10.9 somewhere this year? I think I'll have to check. But
I'll check
but
in a second.
The thing is that she has not. I honestly think that her best days are behind her, and that's the unfortunate thing where. For her, maybe her body just doesn't have the fuel anymore to do what she wants it to do, and because she's young enough, she probably felt that switching coaches and going to Texas was the right option. I heard she left right after Prefontaine when she came sixth in the final.
Yeah. She has a 1093. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, she's there or thereabouts. But is she an elite among the elite anymore? No, I don't think she is. And the last few years, I've told you that you occasionally see flashes of performance from her, but they're not at the consistent level that we used to see from her. I mean, one time she was a dangerous sprinter a few years ago. She's not a dangerous sprinter anymore. And that's the unfortunate truth about it. But, maybe let's see what she does in Tokyo and then decide whether or not, this was just a bad year for her. But then it would probably be 2 or 3 bad years in a row for her.
Yeah.
So the reality is that given that she'd run 1093 this year, I honestly thought that she probably would have dropped down by a note about a 10.8 and a 21.9 or something like that. Right. But what I would say is I think the jury's still out on whether or not she's still capable of doing things that she used to do.
Yeah, I think she hasn't recovered from 21 when she had those hamstring injuries in Tokyo, and it's been a struggle since then. And she's, individually recovered because she's performed creditably well for Team GB, and so we'll see. Yeah,
she's 29, right? So in the world of sprinting, 29, she should be at her peak.
Yeah,
in terms of her physical development and everything, but
she's been around a while too. So
yeah, she's been around since she was a teenager. Yeah, the thing about it is that she's not pulling the numbers that we are used to seeing from her. When you look at what I'm currently looking at her PB. Her PB is 21.88, which was from 2019.
Yeah, right? That was from Doha, I think.
Yeah. And her PB in the 100 was 10.83, which is also in 2019. That's 6 years ago. She hasn't done anything in the last few years to come close to those things. When you look at her season best so far, there's nothing there to tell you that she's running fast. Her best time since the 2019 was 22:04 that she ran in 2021. So she's not doing anything in terms of a progression that suggests that she's moving back to her best. She's still above 22 and barely under 11. And right now, given what we've seen in the field, she's not able to take on and beat any of those people. Which is unfortunate, but it is just, I don't know. Sometimes your body just does not respond anymore to what you want it to do. 11:07 this year, 22:14, 10:93, and 11:08. That's her fastest time this year. So she hasn't. Maybe there's something that we are not aware of that is holding her back, but for right now, it doesn't look good for her in terms of being among the elite. She probably will get to the final in Tokyo if she runs at 10.9 again. But does she have a shot at a medal? She's going to have to run a lot faster than she's run all year. Yeah, that's just the truth of it, because there are about 4 women right now who are 10.8s and who are likely to go faster.
Tokyo. And the reality is in the 100 meters, it's only one medal up for grabs if all things being equal. So
and in the 200 it's probably 1-2.
Yeah,
because
exactly, it's 1-2 as well, because
yes, and then there are so many other people, because as much as Sherika hasn't looked her best this year, and as much as Sherika hasn't run as fast as we've seen her in previous years, I can't visualize Dina beating Sherika over 200 in Tokyo. Because the 200 is probably Sherika's best shot at a medal in Tokyo in 3 weeks. So
she got to drop some times by then. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know. Huh?
If she can run 21, based on what we've seen this year, if she can run 21.9, she's in the mix for a medal.
Sherika, that is. Yeah.
Either of them, Sherika or Dina. I think 21.9 gets him on the podium, because outside of Melissa Jefferson, 21.8 and Julian Alfred 21.71. The only other person who's run close to that is 21.93 by Mackenzie Long, and she's not there.
Yeah,
So,
I think Gabby has a 21.95 too, but she, I don't know
yeah.
what her position is either. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's coming off an Achilles injury. Maybe she comes back and she's in shape to run 21.8 or 21.9, because if she's coming off an injury, she didn't particularly convincing at the US trials.
Yeah.
But that was about 6 weeks. It's about 6 weeks between the US trials and Worlds. So maybe Gabby's coming back in shape as well. So it stands to reason that Sharika and Gabby could be battling for that other medal in the 200 meters as well. So, we all have to wait and see what happens. None of us can tell the future. I mean, it's just how we use what we have in front of us.
It's a hard thing to call. We'll do a preview show at some point where we will put our heads on the chopping block for it. But at this stage, it's only bronze medals up for grabs, and unless something awry goes wrong. In terms of Alfred, someone was asking if Julian was really injured or it was a pullout. There's those conflicts. She's not injured, right? Yeah.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
I can say that with genuine authority.
Right.
She's not injured. Yeah.
I told him I would ask you.
Her coach wanted some time to work with her on some specific things, and they need a specific block of time to do it, which would would involve her missing those 2 meets.
Right.
We're not even sure, and she might end up running in Zurich. We haven't heard anything yet.
Okay.
Because she still leads the Diamond League in 100 points on points, I think. But she's not hurt. I have it on very, very good authority that she's not hurt, and she said so herself. She did an interview with, I think it's Terry Finisterre in St. Lucia, where she said she's not hurt. So which validates the information I got sometime before that she was just taking the time. Coach Flo needed some time to work with her on some things.
You think it's a response to how well Melissa has been running? Yeah,
I'm not sure. One of the things that I do know about Coach Flo, based on a few conversations that I've had with him, is that he's very deliberate. He's very deliberate about the things that he does. So, he's seen Julian run fast, and maybe he sees some things in her mechanics or in her race phases or in her race execution that he thinks that maybe needs a little bit of work. So instead of having her go on and keep making those mistakes, let's shut it down, go back into camp and work on some of those things. Because you saw the success he had at Texas. It's because he is very deliberate and he's very meticulous in terms of the things that he does. Yeah. So he probably saw some things that needed to be worked on and figured, hey, let's do it now. Let's skip those races. It's not like she needs the money. Let's skip those races and work on these things to get her better for. And because one of the key things that's important in that relationship is that she trusts him implicitly.
Oh yeah, no one knows her better than him, right?
Yeah. So when he tells her something, she will listen and she will say, "Okay, fine. If that's what you think, let's do that. Let's work on this." So that's what I think is happening. I don't think she's hurt at all. I don't think it's necessarily in response to what Melissa has been doing, because even though Melissa is the only person to beat her this year, I think Julian knows that if she runs her best race, she wins. Or certainly there's a strong belief that if she runs her best race, she wins. So because one of the things I would say, and I'll use this as an example, the race that she lost in Oregon, I was told before the race that she would not be able to clear the blocks as she usually does, because of some legwork that she did during the course of that week. So it's something that they expected. So it wasn't really much of a, even though she was livid after the race, after she lost.
We saw what she did in Monaco and then subsequently in London to rectify that.
Because she's running with that chip on her shoulder now. But and maybe that's a good thing. And maybe that actually fuels the rivalry when they get into Tokyo, because then she'll be so focused on executing right, knowing that she probably has to win that 100 and win the 200 as well.
Yeah.
Because I think, she will want to get back at Melissa Jefferson. When I spoke to her last year after the Olympics on this podcast we used to do on Sports Match called Out the Blocks, she said that her objective for this year was to win the world title. And so that's been the primary focus, and which is one of the reasons why they were working on her strength and speed endurance in the early part of the season with those 400s and stepped on to 300s and stepped on to 200s and then run a couple of hundreds, and then 21.88 opened. Remember that prior to that opening, her PB was 21.86 and she ran 21.88 opening, and then ran 21.71, which is her new PB and a new national record. I've lost track of the number of national records that she set for St. Lucia.
And then she destroyed that. The moment we knew she was in stellar shape was when she dropped that 300 meters in Florida really early in the season. We knew she was like something special there.
And beat Sherika too.
Jackson was in that race too. The interesting thing about it is, I'm thinking about Jefferson Wooden, and I like her a lot too. I think I have a lot of time for her. It's like, how unfortunate would it be for her to have a season like Justin Gatlin in, when was it? Was it 15 when Gatlin was undefeated?
2015.
And Bolt comes in and nips him there. And it would just be a tough pill for her to swallow, but we'll see. I don't think Melissa is afraid of anything either, and I like it. It's good for the sport. Great competition. A lot of people. Go ahead.
It's a great rivalry. I was going to add that. It's a great rivalry.
Yeah. Some people were adding. I think Aretha was adding that Dina won bronze in Eugene, and other people did. Yeah, she did win bronze. After I said it, I realized that we messed up on it. But thank you guys for running through that. There's a lot of comments coming through, but I think a lot of people want to get to something that you and I spoke about. I'll put part of that on the screen. And we go back to Lausanne. So we'll shift to Lausanne for a little bit because we never got your official thoughts on Oblique Seville. In condition, I got your thoughts. I'm sorry I didn't record that when you called me on when it happened. Outrageous.
Yeah. Outrageous. Look, you're running in a meet where the track is wet.
Yeah.
The temperature is 19 degrees. It's raining. It's not even drizzling. It's raining.
Yeah. And
there's a commenter on my YouTube channel saying that it wasn't cold because Asafa running 13-degree temperatures. Listen,
it was 60 degrees. 60 degrees is cold. At least,
but when you come from Jamaica, 19 degrees is cold. Yeah. And it's cold when it's 19 degrees and it's raining. It's cold, right? Which means if you understand anything about physiology, at those temperatures,
hard to keep warm.
It's hard to keep warm, one, and your tendons and your ligaments get even tighter than normal. So for him to go out there in those conditions on a wet track, by the way, that water on the track actually cushions the impact on the track. So it takes away energy from when you're striking. And runs 987. And not only runs 987, but destroys the field. The field. Remember, he hasn't tapered it or anything. He destroyed the field. Yeah. If you look at his numbers there, first 10 meters, 1.87. He was a tenth of a second ahead of everybody except Akeem Blake, who also got a flyer in that race as well. But you look at his race pattern. He hit his top speed at 60s, at 6:41. Nobody was close.
Yeah.
Right? He was a tenth ahead, almost a tenth ahead of Noah Lyles there. And then when you look at the last 40 meters, you will see that
I didn't close at all. Yeah.
Did not close at all. They were equal in terms of the times. 0.85, 0.86, 0.86, 0.89.
Yeah.
So Noah didn't close any at all for the last 40 meters.
Right.
If Oblique gets into Tokyo and replicates that performance at peak, because then he would have been totally tapered, regardless of what Noah does. If he gets away from that, I mean, remember, Noah Lyles is known, look, and this is something that I discussed with a friend who brought it to my attention. It's actually a quite astute piece of analysis, is that Noah, the weakest part of Noah's race is his first 30 meters.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Right? Oblique, that's probably the first 30, well, from 0 to 60 is probably Oblique's best, because I did some analysis on it, tried a graph and everything, but I did it too late, but so I couldn't send it to you.
Right.
But if you look at his great graph, he gradually increases his speed right up to 60. He doesn't hit a peak early like at 50 or 55 or 60. He gradually gets faster and then holds that speed a lot more. And there's a comparison to if you have the Kishian from
I have I get the Kishian one up too. I had it.
Yeah, put that up. You'll see that his numbers on Kishian are almost identical for the last 40 meters or 30 meters of the race, which means that if anybody does not get out in front of Oblique Seville in Tokyo, chances are they do not catch him.
Right.
So it's very interesting to see the race plan, because the race models, funny enough, as we discussed prior, we're not talking about Shelley and Fraser-Pryce. Kishian is a front-loaded sprinter where he destroys your first 60, 70, and then you have to catch him. The thing with Oblique is that he's constantly accelerating right up to 65, 70, and then you have to catch him over the last 30 meters. And if he's accelerating at the rate he usually does, because you look at some of the splits there, he's going to be putting away from you at 60. So to catch him, you're going to have to run the last average 0.84 per 10 meters for the last 30 meters, which the only person I knew who was able to do faster than that was Usain Bolt.
You go back to Usain jumping at like 0.81 in Berlin.
0.81, 0.82. So you're looking at a situation where, and which is one of the reasons why I said to you on the outset when we did that show earlier on, that I think Oblique could actually end up winning in Tokyo, regardless of how well Kishian runs. Because of what he's been able to do and the improvements that he's made. If he can shave 100th of a second off of each of those 10-meter blocks, but when it tapers in Tokyo, you're looking at 974, between 974 and 976.
Right.
Or no, 974, 970. I did some math on it today. 974, 979. Kishian is 974 to 976. So it's close in terms of what they might be able to deliver if they run at their best.
Right.
Because I factored in fatigue and the conditions as well. The thing that impressed me most about Oblique's run in Lausanne was that he ran virtually identical numbers to Kishian, who ran in much better conditions in Silesia. Which is in many ways frightening. I guess the point on Kishian is they will be like he just got off the plane or whatever. But he was tired, so that's a factor as well.
Yeah, I think he's in some special shape. Yesterday kind of started to change, or the day before changed my mind on like where he really is now. Like, and I'm starting to wonder, like you, because I think you're saying he could win it all. And it's hard to step away from that analysis. It makes, if you're saying he's not at his best yet and he's gonna come into the championship, then that 10-6 that Glenn is pushing around is probably
9-6
insights, and it's hard to I hate using the 9-6, right? I hate saying those numbers because you're only looking at the great man Bolt and Johan Blake and Tyson Gay. I mean, it's like just to go to those numbers seems crazy now. Like it does.
Yeah, it does, and the reason why is because only 3 men have done it ever.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see somebody else breaking into that category where those 3 guys are elite of the elite.
Yeah.
969 for Tyson Gay with a 2.0 win. Blake's was more impressive to me. 969 with zero. The win was 0.1, because I tell people all the time if that was a 1.5 win, he would have been showing the world record with Usain Bolt. But the thing is, and the reason why I think people find it hard to grasp as well is because Oblique is such a tiny little guy.
Yeah.
He's like an Andre Kaysen who really
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
point. Yeah.
yeah, but
For those
he's
who don't know, but yeah.
yeah, but Andre Kaysen was very quick over 60,
Yeah.
and then he's dead. It's like Houston Material as well
Yeah.
from earlier, even earlier back. But the thing with Oblique is that he's been gradually getting stronger over the last 3 or 4 years, and I think this year he's probably at his strongest yet, which I think is we're seeing that in his race model, where he's accelerating gradually from 30. Once he gets out of his drive phase, accelerating gradually up to about 65, 70, and then he holds that speed to the line.
Right.
And if he can execute that race model, and it started getting better as well, because if you looked at the start in the
Oh,
rain,
it's just brilliant now. Yeah.
yeah, he was 2 steps ahead of everybody by 30. And then when he accelerates, his acceleration is off the charts. I think the only person who can match his acceleration right now is Kishane Thompson.
Right.
So the reality is that if he executes that race model the way Glenn wants him to execute it, he could very well win and run something like 972, or God knows, even faster if the wind is right. Maybe 69 or 68. I mean, it's something that it's plausible.
Yeah.
That's the way I put it. It's very plausible that could happen. In fact, both of them could do the same thing, actually.
Yeah. I think it should be Jamaica 1-2. If it doesn't happen,
they have nobody they have nobody to blame but themselves.
Yeah, because the realities, and when you saw Noah Lyle's race, and I talked about it last night when we were live or something like that, when you look at his face and Lyle's face, he was shell shocked, and he's never like that, especially because he's been coming into shape, he's been running well, he's been beating up on Kung Fu Kenny, and he got clapped a couple of days ago, and it's not even close. And I think if the conditions were like still or okay conditions, he may have walked away saying, okay, not bad. But the fact that the guy delivered that sub 10 in torrential weather, I don't think he walks back and he's like, what do we do from now until the World Championships to get into the right shape? And I'm not sure he has it. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, because he was saying that he got a bad start, but
yeah.
But when you look at the numbers, his start wasn't bad. It wasn't worse than any of his previous starts, because that's not where that's not where his strength is. His strength is closing. Once he gets into acceleration phase, he's traveling, and then he closes like a runaway train because of that 200-meter strength and speed endurance. But if Oblique gets a similar lead to him, like he did on Wednesday, he's not catching him.
Yeah,
that's just the reality of it. So, the thing about Kishane for me is how Kishane tends to get tight late in races. Yeah. So, but Oblique doesn't, and that's the thing.
Yeah, no, that's an important thing. We've been saying this. I think we had clipped up one of the last live we did, and someone had commented on it about we should recognize that Kishane won't be the kind of sprinter. He's just like a freight train, rugged guy. And I had responded today saying, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying Kishane Thompson should look like Asafa Powell in terms of beauty on the track or even on the Oblique Seville. What we're isolating is the final phase of his race, where he's not relaxing enough. And if he can manage that part, maybe he wins. He should win it all then. He's that good. He gets out well. But if you're tightening up, and it's whether people want to believe it or not, he is tightening up because he's slowing down quickly, and the data shows it. When you look at those things, you could see he's rapidly slowing down. He needs to curb that. If they fix that, then it's only spikes they're looking at. And Jamaica bib, I suspect. So
the thing about it is that as I say, it's not easy to do. It's easier said than done. It's something that he's going to have to. It comes with a certain amount of trust. He has to trust himself. Yeah. He has to trust his speed. He has to trust the fact that when he gets to 70 and he's leading, all he has to do is just relax and run through the line.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's done in the past when he's not under any pressure, where he shuts it down and runs fast. That's the very reason why he's running fast. because he shuts it down because he's totally relaxed. Like when he ran 77 at the national championship last year,
Yeah.
and when he did it again this year, where because he knows that the only person in the race who could challenge him or possibly challenge him was Oblique, and Oblique was having cramps. He didn't have that pressure on him.
Yeah.
But when he gets to 71st, just drop your shoulders, boss, and run.
Yeah,
And
you want to see the gel, the face jiggling,
yeah, man, yeah. But his jaws are tight and his shoulders are tight. You just relax and run. Once you relax and run, it might feel like you're slowing down, but which is what is actually happening. But you're not slowing down as fast as when you're tight and things. So, he just needs to work on that and running through.
Well, this one is for you, Leighton.
No, he's a dry face. He has a dry face.
Yeah.
Is the reason why it doesn't look like he's having one is because he's massive. The Kishian Thompson. I remember the first time when I interviewed him when he won a trial last year.
Yeah.
I was looking up to him and pushing my microphone up into his face. He's massive.
He's a big dude. Yeah.
He's a big dude. So he doesn't look like he's coming out. Ideally, I think you're coming out of the blocks at about 45 degrees, and you keep your head down and then gradually come up to transition into the acceleration phase.
Yeah.
But he does have a dry phase. It's just that he's so big that you're probably looking at his size and the hair rocking behind him, where it doesn't seem like he does have a dry phase. Look, one of the things you have to understand, if you're training under Stephen Francis, you have to master that dry phase. It's not a question. You have to master that dry phase because then the transition into acceleration is what is going to be key. And right now, Kishian Thompson is the best in the world at those two phases.
Right.
The thing about him is that once he gets his top speed, he doesn't maintain it as long as he should. And that's where he gets caught at the line, which has happened at the Olympics last year. Because if you remember last year, he was relatively comfortably ahead, and then Fred Curley drew up on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then his shoulders went up, like you could literally see his shoulders go up like this.
And he's
trying
to swim a little bit.
Yeah. And trying to reach for the line, just run. If he had just dropped his shoulders and run, trust me, he wins comfortably in about 75 or 74 possibly. But he needs to learn to run in a crowd. That's something that that's why most of the best sprinters like running in the middle of the pack. Because then they can feel the competition, but then they know how to respond to the competition because they know that they're capable of beating the competition. And so they trust the speed that they have, and they trust the technique. And all they have to do is just focus on the technique. Once you focus on the technique will carry you home. Yeah. There's a reason why so many coaches preach it. Relax, but keep applying force while you're relaxing, and you will win. So he has to just trust himself. If he trusts himself, he should win. If he doesn't, maybe Oblique wins it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. At this stage, I don't think Lyles will be ready, but I don't want to count him out. But
no, you can't count on Lyles. Lyles is probably not the lab now work on.
They're probably video analysis, and every second of Lance is probably like, you didn't do this well or so. But I think it's interesting. We'll see.
One thing I noticed. One final point. If you looked at Lyles last 15 meters in that race, he got tight too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
because he was trying to push. I don't know. He was hoping to close the gap on Oblique. That wasn't happening at all.
Yeah. I guess people want to see some. All in the game says he's saying I called it a couple of weeks ago that Johnson would duck out of his BBC pundit job for Tokyo, which was confirmed today. Didn't realize it was confirmed today, but we knew that was coming. He has to lay low, right? He can't.
Yeah. That's
you can't be owing people money,
Yeah, 13 million he owes to the athletes. Overall debt is about $20 million.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's not a good time right now for him to be the face of anything. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, I honestly think it's unfortunate because I think his intentions were in the right place.
Yeah,
but I think
the business side wasn't.
Yeah, the business side was probably flawed. Because look, when people invest large sums of money like that, they're expecting some kind of ROI that makes it worth their while.
Yeah,
and if they don't see it happening, then they're gonna pull, and that's what I think happened to him. I left him.
Yeah,
they pulled the rug out from under him. So
I remember early in the season because I was questioning so I always say I want alternative track and field meets to succeed. So number one, number two. But when I saw the Grand Slam lineup, I was skeptical that that could be successful. Only doing it in North America, and two, 3 days and no field events, nothing like that. It's like a dead squib. You don't. I'm just watching, like nothing is happening, and
Yeah, I asked him that question when he came to Jamaica.
yeah,
I said why. He said he felt like he could save a track, but he couldn't save field. But there's a reason why the sport is called track and field. Huh?
but that to me, I think I saw your interview on that or something like that, and I
Yeah.
was like, I was mesmerized for someone who covers track and field. You should know that the hallmark of why track and field is great, outside of say a relay carnival, if you had the Penn relays or Drake or something where it's just constant relay, it's because there's always something happening. Your attention is just left, right, something on the track, you move this way. So it could never be successful. And the money, I think they overstepped on it, Leighton. I spoke to Dan Kaplan about it, who covers a lot of sports business stuff too, and they should have probably started off with a soft launch. They went big on it, and they spent a lot of money on getting athletes in.
Yeah, and they spent a lot of money in Jamaica too.
People. Yeah, and this, they said they contributed to the stadium or whatever, and
$450,000.
Yeah,
for the track alone.
Yeah, so I think I think there's business and there's heart, and I think Michael Johnson wanted something. He had a vision, but it doesn't really work like that. And the TV ratings was horrible lately. After Philadelphia, it's like 22,000 people. When you look at the ratings, you can't sell track and field or any sport and expect people to buy into that part. So
no,
I hope they come back, but I am very skeptical that they can come back. Yeah,
I don't see it right now. Unless he wins the lottery or something. I don't know. Because look, he has to pay. He has to pay those athletes, because if he doesn't, then nobody's going to sign up.
Yeah, no one will come, and then he also owes money to municipalities and other people, and it's and the prize. Someone saying maybe the prize money was too big. Possibly, I think maybe they should have launched with one meet or two, test it out. Perhaps they should have launched right after Paris last year, when you get the hype of the Olympic crowd, because I think that's the biggest challenge in track and field. The reason why the sport can't move, especially in North America here, is that it's an Olympic sport. So they're just thinking Olympic cycles. No one cares about it other than that point. And there's so many things in the States that occupy your time. So it will not dent a weekend in Miami or Philadelphia or anywhere like that. There's just so many things to do. So it's not like you build it, then they'll come. You have to incentivize them to come. And
Yeah, I think they should have probably followed a model similar to Atlas, where
exactly,
that one meet and test the environment and have that prize money, but the outlay wouldn't be as great. But when you're spreading it over 4 meets, and then the idea of starting in Jamaica, I thought was, he said it's to pay homage to Jamaica's legacy track and field, but there are so many different
things. Like joking talk to me.
Yeah, but there are so many things that were wrong with the Jamaican leg of things. The timing, first of all, time of day. I know the broadcasters might have something to have done with that, because 5:30 in Jamaica on a Friday, people are still stuck in traffic.
Yeah,
the sun is hot on the eastern side of the stadium, because it sets in the west. It's in the face of everybody, and the ticket prices was in my mind. Yeah, because look, the average Jamaican man or woman doesn't necessarily earn a lot of money. You're asking them to spend money that is lunch money for a week or lunch money for a few days and bus fare and things. Because those are the people who come to track meets. Yeah. Right. So you're literally because I actually spoke to one of the ladies who was working with her. She was sitting next to me in the media center, and I was explaining to her that the time of day, you can't start a track meet at 5:30 in Jamaica. No day of the week. Right? Friday was a bad thing there. Saturday, they give away tickets for free, and still barely anybody showed up. Because, again, on a Saturday, at 5:30 on a Saturday, people are still... There's a reason why Racers Grand Prix start at 6:30 and 7 o'clock, and Jamaica Invitational start at those times, because that's when people they have time to come and sit in a meet and do a thing. Right. Prior to that, they're either shopping or they're doing things that people do on a Saturday, whether they're laundry or whatever it is that they're doing on a Saturday, because they don't have time to do it in the week. And Jamaicans, as we know, are prone to habit. This is what they work with in terms of their daily life cycles. So you ask him to break, like say on a Friday evening at 5:30, traffic in Kingston is like Manhattan in peak hour. You can't
like
move.
LA traffic.
Yeah, LA traffic. Yeah,
Atlanta,
you can't move. So people are reluctant to come out. If you leave work, if you check the average Jamaican leaving work, for example, downtown or New Kingston, they wait until like 5:30, 6 o'clock to leave their offices, because when you look out on the road, it's bumper to bumper.
Okay.
Right? I mean, today I was on the road at midday, and it was bumper to bumper. So and today was what? Friday. Right. So you're looking at a situation where I don't think enough thought went into when the meet was being held in Jamaica, what time of day, the ticket prices, and cultural differences, because then you have the meet on a third day, which is a Sunday. People have them Sunday dinner, people have go to church, all them something. People are not thinking about those things until maybe Sunday evening, maybe 6 o'clock Sunday evening, when dinner in your stomach and you can rub your stomach and your belly 2 times and say, all right, cool, now go stay and now go watch the meet. You're not going to come out at 2 o'clock in the day.
Right.
You're just not. That's when most people are having Sunday dinner traditionally. And those are traditions that Jamaicans are not willing to break, except if Lionel Messi comes here. But then Lionel Messi came in the night, so you understand what I said. So
I think the biggest challenge, the biggest challenge is that I think the reason why I picked Jamaica, beyond this talking about homage, I think he saw what a boys and girls championships look like, and when you see that around the world, it looks like a spectacle. So he thinks he can replicate that. But they didn't do enough groundwork. I mean, I don't know who ran the team down there or who they were consulting with, but seriously, it's like, you should have known this, And then who was observing the ticket sales? Like, if you saw the ticket sales a week in advance or 2 weeks in, you would know. Then that's when you would give away all the tickets and bus people in, because you needed a spectacle in order to sell the other meets, and I think that's where they fell miserably.
But they were trying to give away tickets. So there was a Velocity Fest meet at Jamaica College, I think the week before, and they were desperately trying to give away tickets, and
people weren't buying.
And then the bus issue, they had parking down by Hero Circle. I remember a former athlete saying her sister parked down by Hero Circle and took the bus. The shuttle to the stadium. When they got to the stadium, there were only 2 races left, which again goes back to the traffic issues that we were talking about before on Friday. So there are a lot of things that I don't think they took into consideration. And again, you're right. They probably saw champs and figure.
No, I knew that's what happened. They can't tell me otherwise. And when I spoke to some people who know the stuff, at least on this side of the continent, or up in the United States, that's what they did. They wanted a place where if we drop it right here, it would be a hit. And I think they misinterpret. And I think Candy on your channel is saying they didn't do due diligence. I think that's the whole thing you're saying there.
Yeah.
If they understood the cultural dynamic, the people, they wouldn't have made this mistake. Yeah,
because here's the thing. People don't go to champs for the individual athletes per se.
Right.
They go to champs for the schools that they support. Yeah. How do I know this? Over the years, I've spoken to people inside of the stadium. And I said, who from your school or the school that you support you want to see? They don't know. They know it's KC, they know it's Calabar, they know it's JC, they know it's White Woolmans or whatever it is. They don't know the athletes. They see them win. And some people ask me, the youth are win the 200 champs in a class 3. And so you don't know, it's not the athletes that they're supporting. It's the schools that they're coming out in support of. So if you're supporting the athletes, I mean, there are people who will know the names of the athletes.
Right.
The diehard fans, the pundits who know, like, Hubert Lawrence and people like, not even me, because I don't pay attention to champs all that much. But you're looking at people who, they go to champs to find out whether KC is going to beat Calabar or JC going to win, or Woolman's
Right.
getting upset or something. They're not particularly keen on who the athletes are. Because when the athletes go abroad, and this is another evidence of it as well, when the athletes go abroad to college in the United States, you ask them what school they used to run. They don't know. Right? They don't know. So like I was talking to some people earlier this year. Was it earlier this year? Yeah, it was earlier this year. And I was talking about Akira Nugent. And they're like, yeah, which school she used to go again? I'm like, yeah, but those she's going to Excelsior. I mean, who doesn't know but they don't know.
Right.
But they know she used to run at Champs and they know she used to run for Excelsior, but they don't know who she is. So it's a common thing where I keep telling people all the time, Jamaicans are not really sports fans now. We are wagonists. We jump on a wagon when somebody does well and we cop off when they're
Leighton said it. I didn't say it.
No, I said it, and I said without any fear of reservation. They need to prove me. I will say to anybody listening here, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And let me just divert for a second here. You take a Premier League final, for example.
Right.
And then put it in the stadium. Is the stadium full? Grandstand is full.
Yeah.
And you get a few people by bleachers.
Yeah.
But Lionel Messi comes here and you couldn't find space in the stadium.
Right.
Right? We are not sports fans. We like when our athletes do well, and that is basically it. If you look at how we respond, look, give you another example. Bolt set the world record in 2009.
Right.
In Berlin.
Berlin, yeah.
Shelley wins the 100. Jamaica did exceptionally well. Trials 2010. Tell me how many people were in the bleachers. You could have thrown a stone and nobody in the bleachers. Right? So it's not about, we don't follow the sport and say we love the sport. Right? Conversely, I remember more than a few years ago, Cleveland Browns were 1-17 going, or 1-16 going to the final game of the season.
Yeah.
Stadium full, don't it? In Cleveland.
Yeah.
Those are sports fans. Them follow them team, whether them up or down. We don't care unless you win. And which is one of the reasons why I find it offensive when people are telling me that, them follow the sport, them biggest fan, love the athlete, love. I say, yeah, which school them used to go? No, don't know. What time them run? Them don't know. What was their biggest accomplishment? Them don't know. Yeah, when I tell them, like for example, I was on radio one morning talking about Shelley's credentials.
Right.
And they must say, something she win? No, if you're a sports fan.
Right.
Don't you know?
And you're talking about the best of the best there too.
Yeah. You win 500-meter world titles, 1 200-meter title, 2 Olympic individual titles. The first one to win 4 Olympic medals. All of those things. How I know those things? If you're a fan of the athlete, why don't you know those things? So I said, and people might disagree with me, but as I said, prove me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of it, you hardly see people in West Indies cricket, but that's probably another story. And I give people a pass on the football because sometimes, when you really watch high quality football and in Europe, you feel like, why do I watch this? But outside of that, yeah.
I agree, but because when you watch La Liga, you watch EPL, and to come back and watch the Premier League, you see the difference is chalk to cheese, huh?
Yeah.
But if you have a team where you support,
you have to go. Yeah,
you're gonna support your team, whether it's Arnett or Mount Pleasant or Cavalier or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Your team are playing a final, go and support your team, right? You tell people. I remember talking to somebody the other day, a few years ago, about why is it that them don't sell more mercs, because a lot of the clubs in Jamaica struggle. Yeah, and them say, them try to sell merch, and people don't buy the jerseys then. Yeah, people find an excuse not to support, but then claim that we support. So I don't care who on top. Why haven't I interviewed Fernando so far this year? A couple of times I tried, but he was traveling, and my timing was off. I was traveling, and then he was overseas, and then we had issues at work that we had to contend with, which eventually led to our shutdown as well. So it just didn't work out this year. I arranged to come up there and talk to Paul and Frano one day. And when I went up there, only Paul was there, and then Paul was in the middle of a training session, and then Frano was overseas. So it's just one of those things. I think I'll probably get him. Now that I'm free, I'll probably arrange to do an interview with him sometime soon.
Who is an easier interview, Frano or Glenn Mills?
Frano, you know. Glenn doesn't like the media very much. I mean, neither does Frano. But the thing is that if you ask Frano a question, he will answer you and he will tell you exactly what is on his mind, and he will tell you exactly how he feels about something. Glenn will answer. I mean, I've interviewed Glenn multiple times.
Right.
But Glenn tends to be a little bit media shy. He doesn't like the limelight too much. I mean, neither does Frano, by the way. But if you stick a camera in front of Frano's face and ask him a sensible question, he will give you an answer.
Yeah.
So I find Frano, I think, is probably the easier interview. In fact, I mean, I don't have a problem interviewing anybody, actually. Most times, some of the coaches will run away from you. But yeah, that's just the.
Yeah, I mean, I always like listening to Frano because when he decides to talk, at least to you, or when he does one of those longer TV things, he's giving you what he is. He's stringing you the way he wants to string you. Sometimes, not necessarily you, the interviewer, but the messages that he's sending out. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I the interview that I did with him, when I got a lot of flack from a certain athlete's fan base. When I asked him whether or not he would take her back into the camp. And he just, with a straight face, he told me what he told me, and I used the quote. And I mean, I think I still have the quote on my phone. It is what it is. He said what he said, and he said, I mean, he changed his tune eventually.
Right.
But at the time when I spoke to him, that's what he said to me. And then people were saying that I'm trying to hate on, I don't know, but whatever it is, what was ridiculous. But
all in the game was asking about Sonny O'Sullivan. I haven't seen the comment. What
was the comment?
You have to tell me about it. I didn't see it, to be honest with you. Let's see. Objectivity says Mr. Mills is more diplomatic. Lamar is saying, what's your guys' take on Alana's form? I think she was at Pan Am Championships. I only saw clips of it, so I really don't have any.
Yeah, she finished. She at the back of the pack, 11:77, I think, or 11:71.
And then she anchored the relay?
Yeah, she won the one goal in the relay. I think I spoke to Coach Dyke this morning, actually. And he said that she's probably just at the end of her season and probably tired, which probably manifest. And Serena Cole as well. Serena Cole ran 11:4. And since they are not part of the world, not likely to be part of the world championship teams, I think they're probably mentally winding down, which would probably indicate that's the and it's plausible. I'm not saying that it's not. So that's it's disappointing though, given that she's world under 20 champion last year, to come to Pan Am now where the field was so soft.
Right.
You should have used the opportunity to get the Pan Am title. The funny thing about it is that the athlete that won, is she coached by Shaniki Osborne?
I'm wondering too. Is it a Trinidadian athlete? Was it? Or
I think so.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
She's from Ireland. I'm trying to remember, but I think she's coached by Shaniki Osborne. I think.
Sir. Okay, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I think it's probably a combination of just being a long season. It's almost September, and she's run a few races during the course of the season, and maybe she's not mentally where she needs to be. So I probably find out from her eventually. When I get back to Jamaica, I'll probably give her a call and find out what's going on with that, if that's the case, because this was a year when I think she probably should have made a step forward, but I don't think she has. I mean, she ran 11-0 something at trials, I think it was.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you your thoughts on where her ceiling is, because I've been trying to figure that out for a while, like where she could eventually go. Is like a 10-7 in the future, or it's like topping out like at a 10-8?
I tried to figure it out when she ran the 10.92 at champs.
Right.
I thought, well,
Something special.
Something is. Well, I didn't say something special. I tend not to think that at that age, because what I find out with a lot of these kids, they're coached like professionals when they're in high school,
Mm.
and then there is not much left afterwards. But what I've seen since that time, I don't know what her ceiling is likely to be. Is she a 10-8 athlete? Is she a 10-7 athlete? I think there a lot of her mechanics don't look particularly sound to me. She
Mm.
runs and she leans back and
Right.
she looks like she's sitting down when she's running, and she looks like she's on her heels as opposed to her balls of her feet. So I don't know. I mean, I probably have to get guidance from a coach who has a keener eye as to
Right.
what she looks like. But to me, her mechanics don't look like somebody who's going to run much faster than maybe
I
a
agree.
10.
I don't think she strikes the ground enough, and it's almost like there's an absence of a lift as well. But I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah. A
That's
couple of
just
things
right.
on your channel too. Let me just get Dynamics was saying Dynamics 416 says Sonia pretty much blasted Rashidat for not doing the relays. Midnight Cowboy confirming that the athletes is coached by Coach Osborne, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to see the full quota of that. Look, if an
But
athlete
Rashida,
is injured and
yeah.
can't go, then what do you expect them to do, right? They're not, as you like to say, they're not machines. And it's one thing if she was going to the World Championships to just run the flat 400 and said, I'm not participated in the relay. She's not going at all. So
Yeah.
what do you
Yeah,
want to? Yeah,
she put out a statement on her Instagram page a few days
yeah,
ago where
yeah.
she outlined that she's been having injury issues all season, and then this latest episode now just pretty much confirms to her that she's going to shut down for the rest of the year. Why would she take the risk of probably doing more damage to herself for next season,
Yeah.
when she can recover now and start her preparation for the next Worlds and of course the Olympics in 3 years' time? I mean, you know,
Bright future.
yeah, because she's just a year out of college. So if she's hurt, why not take the opportunity to rest now and recover and heal? Because we all know she's extremely talented, but you can't push your body to where it doesn't want to go until it's ready to go. So I wouldn't necessarily want to blame her for shutting down her season and not wanting to
Yeah.
run the relay.
I'd never blame an athlete for doing that if they're injured, because you have to imagine you're not just making that decision by yourself. It's in consultation with a medical team, with a
Yeah,
coaching staff, with your family, your support system. That's how you would make a decision like that, because it would be extremely disappointing not to go to the main event in a sport, in your sport. No
yeah.
one is saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna pass on Tokyo." That's not a normal thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and this one, I don't think this is the first time this season that she's actually put out a statement about her being hurt as well.
Right.
So it's not like she's making it up.
Yeah.
She is.
She's been
She
transparent. Yeah.
clear, yeah, she's been very transparent. She's made some issues. She's had some injury issues that has impaired her ability to train at full potential, and it has shown itself on the track because she hasn't looked particularly great when she's competed this year at all. I remember at European Championships last year, she was second to what's her name?
Uh,
Was it?
Pemke.
It was not. It was Kazmarek who won the 400.
Oh
I'm trying to
yeah, yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
yeah, it was Kaz. I think it might have been Kazmarek. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, from observation, do you think Oblique it's very similar in my mind? It's certainly very similar, where Blake would start well and his acceleration was ridiculous. The only person who could get better than that acceleration was Usain Bolt, and we saw that in 2012 at the Olympics, where when the field closed and Bolt started to pull away from the field because of his better speed maintenance. Blake also surged ahead of Gatlin and Tyson Gay to finish second in 9.75. Interestingly, the same time in which he beat Bolt at the national championship that
Yeah.
year. So it's a similar. I think it's a similar pattern. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
No, a lot of people sleep on Johan, but ability-wise, he was one of the very best.
Listen, man, if that boy wasn't hurt,
Yeah.
it's what people don't understand when people criticize him. is that when you tear a muscle completely off the bone, where they had to trim the muscle, the shredded end of the muscle, and then tack it back to the bone and wait for the muscle to graft back into the bone. And then for him to come back and have a career after that is extraordinary. Maria, I keep saying it, Privalova, Arina Privalova had a similar injury and had to come back and run the 400 meter hurdles.
Yeah,
because she had no explosivity at all after that surgery. So that Johan would be able to come back and run 9.8 actually up to 2 seasons ago. Was it 2022 that he ran 9.85 before he went to Oregon and he picked up the heel injury in Oregon, so he couldn't run as fast as he wanted to. So Johan for me is an extraordinary human being. And I hate when people say must retire now and whatever it is. That's not what you make him do.
Right. On your channel, Dynamics 416 is asking, is the new Tokyo Olympic Stadium known for tailwind? I don't think so. In 2020, there was minima. No, it's I don't think there will be a lot of wind because of the design. And the track is the same from Tokyo. Is the Mondo surface from the previous generation. Yeah,
but we saw
over here.
we saw Indian run 1061 on it.
Yeah, it's a quick surface.
It's a quick track. So it's a fast track. So but the unfortunate thing about it is that the wind factor might not be a significant factor in that stadium. What do I think of the prospects of Dockery in the future? For right now, she looks like a good prospect. I don't know what she's going to do in 2 or 3 years' time. A lot of it has to do with the mindset of these athletes, because one of the things that I find, and it's happening a lot more frequently now than I liked, a lot of times these kids get contracts early and they lose their hunger. They become complacent because no, it's all about IG and you have on your different fashion and you pose on people's car and all kind of different things. So I don't know. It all depends on where her mindset. I think she has potential. I think she's quick and I think she has good speed. But I think the next 2 or 3 years will tell. I think put it this way, I think the potential is there for her to be a really good athlete. How good, I think only her can determine whether or not she stays healthy or whether or not she stays focused. But when I look at her, I see someone who has the potential to be a pretty good athlete in the next 4 or 5 years. Who I also like is the other girl. What's her name? She beat Dockery.
Oh
God, can't remember anyway.
But she's from. It's not from Haida. She's not from Haida. She's from the other school,
no.
right?
She's from a country school.
I'm looking at her face right now.
But she won at Carifta and everything. Her name escapes me right now. But I think
Shania Douglas.
Yeah. I think those 2 young ladies, I think, have very bright futures, but they need to stay focused and they need to commit to the sport. There are a couple of athletes right now who are annoying me. I won't call any names because I'm not putting anybody on the bus. But all I see them doing right now is pure posing and people not paying you to floss on Instagram. People paying you to compete. People want to see you compete. I don't think some of these athletes are focused enough, are committed enough to the sport, and hence I expect a couple of they won't announce a retirement, but they will have retired.
Okay,
because they're not committed. I mean, I tell people all the time, I wish I had the talent of some of these kids when I was in high school, and I got a contract early out of high school and would go on. I would kill to do that. And if I got hurt or unable to compete, nobody's seen me until I get well again, because you're known for your talent. You're known for having the potential to be great. And if you're not able to compete, I don't want to see you. Get better, come back and compete. I don't want to see all of this. I think social media sometimes is, not sometimes, a lot of times is the detriment of a lot of these kids coming up, because, them get a little money, and instead of thinking wisely, and I think it's because of some of the people who are surrounding them as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the structure matters.
Yeah, so invest your money. You're not guaranteed to get a renewed contract after 4 years. So invest your money, walk quietly behind the scenes, prepare yourself, and come out and blow the world away. I don't want to see you when you're not competing and all kind of foolishness.
So I will say I agree with you on many of those points, but because I see a lot of young people every day. On Monday, I'll see a bunch of young people. And the thing that I will say, though, it's a challenging thing for them sometimes without the right structure. And if we just kind of zone in onto the track and field circuit, when they're in high school, it's one thing. The transition from high school is another. And then for those who end up going to, say, university or college, the transition after that can be extremely difficult, because if you're at a Power 5 conference or Division 1 school, everything is taken care of. You have the structure, even though it may not be the greatest structure. But the moment that you now are seeking to be professional, you have to do a lot of things that was done for you. And without the right system, many of them fall away, or it takes a couple of years to adjust. But I do understand your point about falling into the trap of being hyped or flossing before you really accomplish anything,
Eldrick Floreal said to me, was it last year? He says, when you're in college, your coach is your CEO, right? And he takes care of everything for you. It's the minute you go pro, you are your own CEO. And you have to ensure that the things around you are the right things around you for you to succeed. Right. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the problem with some of these kids these days is that when they become the CEO of their own companies, which is what it is, they don't even realize that they're the CEOs. Right? They keep thinking that somebody else is going to do all the work for them. They need to put the work in. If you look at, I keep using Shelly as an example. When you look at Shelly, how Shelly has managed her career,
right?
The only time you see her on social media is if she's at an event that is about something progressive, like she's doing her foundation work or something. You're not seeing her at no party. You're not seeing her with no dress up thing and thing. You're seeing her in her environment where she is. Like you will see her with Zion at Sports Day. That's the exception to the norm. But
that's also part of the thing that they're pushing, though, the narrative, right? Yeah.
Right. So what it is that she ensures that when you see her is how she wants you to see her as a professional, as a mom, as an elite athlete. A lot of these kids, it's like they're just so caught up with the idea that certainly them have a little money in their pocket. And and I understand the excitement of it because you're young. You have income now that you never had before, and you probably never dreamt you'd ever have. And I understand the excitement of it. But so the first couple of weeks, you get to sign your contract, you get the first check. Yeah, have some fun, blow it, go and have a couple of parties and, buy some new things, buy some new toys. But after a while, you have to look around and say, the people that pay me for be an elite athlete. The people that want me to deliver on certain levels. That should be my focus because it's a job. It's like you get hired by Digital, for example, and you get, for some reason, it's an extraordinary circumstance I'm talking about. You get a signing bonus.
Yeah.
And you get the signing bonus and you say, yo, brother, and you call up two friends and you go to the club and you pay for the drinks and you enjoy yourself for the night and you maybe do it for another night. But after a while you say, yo, did you sign me for do a job? He's not paying me to go party. He's not paying me to go show off on people. He's paying me to be a professional athlete. That should be your focus. That should be the only thing that you focus on. I'm not saying you can't have fun, but it can't be that fun is what is the prominent thing in your life, as opposed to training. Make sure so you get the proper nutrition, because that's what the contracts allow you to do.
Yeah.
Get proper nutrition, pay for your physio, pay your coach. If you need to do surgery, you can probably handle some of it, with insurance or whatever it is, and take care of your needs so that you can perform at your optimal best. They're not paying you for to go show up on the rest of the world. That's if you want to go do that, become a model, go work for a sign for Saint or Vogue or one of them companies. That's not what they're paying you for. So when they're paying you and you are out there, and so even if you're injured, the thing is about it that nobody don't want to see you.
Right.
God, just keep a low profile, focus on recovery, focus on rehab, and come back and perform. Because that's what you're getting paid to do. But unfortunately, to me, I don't want to sound like I'm ranting, but I am. It's just
you're gonna say you're a boomer.
Yeah, a lot of these kids need to understand that what they're getting paid to do is to compete. And as long as they understand that and understand what is required for them to be able to compete at the optimal levels, is that they stay off of social media as much as possible and focus on doing the things necessary. Work in the gym, get stronger, get faster, consult your coach, do the core work that you need to do when you're not at training, get the necessary rest. I've never seen a set of athletes who drink as much alcohol as this current set of athletes.
Oh.
I remember when I was running track, for example, the guys in the group that drink one beer get drunk because we were running clean, because alcohol dehydrates you and leads to injuries. We're all aware of all these things. These kids are them out and they drink Hennessy and they do alcohol and anything, and then they get hurt and they wonder why. So that's what it rankles me, because I think they lose focus on what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And that's basically the end of my sermon for today.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I think the biggest challenge, and it's not only for track and field athletes, we see it here in the States, but increasingly, I think, the big organizations, the NBA, the NFL, MLB, they're doing a much better job, especially with just the structures around the athletes, because you blow your money easily. Uncle Sam comes for it. I imagine if they're in Jamaica, I don't know, who is it, Uncle Andrew, and someone you have to pay, right? And you have to live off of this and invest for your future. And you sign a contract for $1 million or $10 million. It's not $10 million. It's much smaller than that, and you have to do a lot of things with it, right?
You pay. There are people around you who you have to pay.
Right.
You have to
so
pay.
You shouldn't be buying the Rolex unless Rolex is the company supplying you, right?
If Rolex is sponsoring, you're fine.
Then you're weird.
Your watch, you can put it on, and when you do an interview, you can hold up your hand by your head and make them see the Rolex.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, just focus on what you need to focus on, and because at the end of the day, if you're serious about the sport that you're in, your legacy is what you leave behind.
Yeah.
And the great ones, leave the. I mean, people see you saying, driving, expecting cars and all kind of different something. But what did he do? He created records that nobody is able to break, so he can afford to do that. Shelley similarly, Elaine similarly, Asafa to a degree. I mean, he set world records, even though he didn't win as many titles as people, but he earned it. And you look at some of the US athletes. Take for example, look at Tyson Gay, for example, and maybe Justin Gatlin or Alison Felix. You don't see them doing all this rubbish. I mean, Alison started a company. They're using their money to build a career, build a life after track. They're not wasting it out a road that do foolishness and care 100 friend go beach party and all kind of foolishness or whatever it is. Oh, I think and it goes back again to the people who you have around you, who
very important
must be willing to tell you, cut the foolishness. This is what you need to be focusing on. Nobody can say you can't party, but you can't be party all the time.
All right.
And I think a lot of them suffer the consequences because their careers flame out and then they turn around and wonder what went wrong.
Yeah. We didn't plan this. We didn't know. I don't even know how we ended up down this road.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. But so you go. I mean, no, but these issues come up from time to time because the reality is what it's what a lot of the athletes face these days. And unfortunately, there are not enough people around them to tell them, look, cut it out. Because unfortunately, a lot of them surround themselves with yes people who are afraid to say to them, look, this what you're doing is not right. What you're doing is the wrong thing. Focus. As my wife tends to say, focus. I love when she says that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my wife always says, "I thought we have a plan." So it happens, Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we should call it because it's been a long evening. I don't know if there's any more comments here. There's a bunch on your channel. I think True Blue says, Leighton, what do you think of Boaji and Krume? I don't know.
Still in development. I mean, he's in what, the second year of post school.
Second, or going into the third, something like that.
Give him time. People forget it took 4 years to get to where he got to in 2008.
Right.
We saw flashes of what he was capable of when he went to Athens with his chin in his mouth, thinking that he could do it on talent alone, and then flamed out in his heat. 2005, he got to the final in the 200 meters at World Championships. 2007, he got silver in the 200. 2008, he became the Usain Bolt, godlike Usain Bolt. Give Boaji some time. I'm sure that maybe by next season we'll see him start to emerge as one of the next elite sprinters to join the four that are here now.
Right.
When I say elite, I mean the guys who are under sub 10. So Hakeem,
Seville, Kishane,
and Brand Level.
Yeah.
So give him another year. But I think what we've seen this year, we saw some improvements. Not necessarily, I don't think it's necessarily where we would like to see him be right now, but give him time.
Yeah.
Glenn and company at racers know what they're doing.
Certainly.
Yeah. And I think by next year he'd probably be a sub 10 sprinter again. We saw Ryan Ford get there this year again as well. So we're getting back to 2008 level where we had like 12 guys under 10 seconds.
Yeah,
which is
and the talent pool is decent. Yeah. Someone over here asking about Guy Ricard. I think he might
talented,
be special. But do you think they pushed him too much?
Probably not. I mean, it's hard to say because I think when you look at Guy Ricard, I don't see a natural sprinter.
Say more.
I think no, because when you look at Guy Ricard, this is just me now. I mean, I could be completely off base here.
Yeah.
I see a guy who is built like a shot putter, but he's smaller.
Right.
He has heft. And he's obviously fast. But I think maybe they're asking his body to do something that he's not ready to do just yet. So maybe he's potentially going to be somebody special. I mean, you don't have to look like, as I said, Houston McTeer and Andre Kaysen didn't necessarily look like they're elite sprinters, but they were. But I think maybe his body's just not mature enough to handle the load, which is one of the reasons why he breaks down as often as he does. Because remember, was it Carter that he ran 10-0 in the semifinals and then couldn't come back? Yeah. So, maybe he is
champs too. Yeah.
It was champs. Maybe his body is not ready to handle that kind of workload yet. So maybe front of them need to be a little bit more patient with him, and maybe not race him until his body is ready to handle the work that's required. Because if you can run fast in one race and then your body can't replicate it, it means that you're probably not ready to handle that. So maybe, and he's still young. I mean, he's what, 18?
Yeah, he's young,
yeah,
or because I think he
yeah,
was like 16, 17. He's probably turning it. Yeah, he's probably 18 now,
yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
there. He's
So
not.
so
Yeah.
his body is still maturing, yeah.
Mm.
So he's not where like he's 21 where the bones are set and the density of his muscles is increasing at that level where
Mm.
he can handle the workload. Maybe you need to back him off a little bit and be patient with him, but be a little bit more. Not to say that they're not being patient, but
Right.
maybe be a little bit more patient and work with him behind the scenes, um, and then in another year or two let him go and see what he does, because if he clearly is somebody who has speed, but his body isn't ready for that speed just yet, so he keeps breaking down. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You mentioned something that piqued my interest when you were listing out like the elite talent, and we didn't spend any time talking about Akeem Blake. So he ran in the last couple of races. Are you
Yeah.
concerned that he's not edging back down, or it's just the workload and he'll be fine?
I think he's a workload,
Is
but I
he
also
loaded?
think
Yeah.
he's loaded. But I also think that the last phase of his race also needs work. If you look at that race, was it Celestia where he finished
Yeah.
fourth, I think?
Yeah.
He's stretching for the line and to the point where his back is bending as he's reaching for the line. That's something that Mikey Freighter might have to talk to him about. He was better in Lausanne, because I remember he actually Lyles passed him pretty much or caught him pretty much at the line.
Right.
And they both got 10-0-2. So if he also I think his start is pretty good. His transition is not bad at all, and his acceleration is pretty decent. But he probably needs to work on that last phase of his race where he stop reaching for the line. The line will come to you. Just keep doing what you're doing, and the line will come to you. You might feel somebody on your shoulder, but the only reason why they're passing is because you're doing the things to slow down faster than them. And that's another thing.
It's true, because I'm just looking at it, he was like 0.93 at 30, 0.89 at 40, 87, 87, 86, 88. Then he goes to 90 and 92. And Seville is at and Lyles are 86, 89. So it's like he gets run down, not
because
but you know what I mean.
He's slowing down a lot too quicker because he's overstriding and reaching for the line. And that's because when you're overstriding, you're actually closer to your heel than the balls of your feet. So you're actually breaking up, as opposed to keep on running and running through the line. So he probably needs to work on that as well.
Yeah, but he should perform well for the relay.
I think if he runs to potential, Jamaica could have all three guys in the final.
Yeah,
in Tokyo, because I think he has the potential to go faster than 88, which is his PB now. I think even if you look at the race at trials when he ran 988, he was still he was stretching, he was reaching for the line as well. He could have easily run about 84 if he had just run through the line as opposed to reaching for the line. He has a lot of. I like him a lot. I think he has a lot of potential, but I think there are phases of his race that still need work. But if you can correct those things, I think Jamaica probably have 3 9-7 guys in another year, if not 4.
9-7, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you look at Akeem's race, the last 40 meters of his race is the weakest part of his race.
Yeah.
If he can fix that, because I think Brand Level is going to run 9-7 next year. Period. That 982 and the 19.69 tells me that he's ready to do that. So if Akeem can fix that last 25-30 meters of his race and stop responding to the crowd, the feel, because you can't feel people in races,
Yeah.
And when he's feeling somebody, he's probably trying to get to the line a lot more quickly. Just run through the line, and you'll be surprised to know that you hold them off because you're not tightening up, you're not stretching, you're not breaking form. And what impacts a lot of these athletes in the last 30 minutes is breaking form, and that breaking that form allows them, causes them to slow down a lot faster than they normally would have. But I think he's a lot of potential. I think when you look at what we have coming up, all of these guys are young.
Yeah.
Oblique, Kishin, Akeem, Brian Level, and I think when you look at somebody like Ryan Ford, they're looking at somebody like Kedron Golson, who his race model is so inconsistent. I don't know what if he runs the way he's supposed to run. That guy runs sub 10 every single time.
Right.
I think Jamaica will have a nice crew of about 7 or 8 guys who are running nines, maybe not 9.7s, but 9.9s,
Right.
9.8s consistently over the next couple of years, and build us back to where we're coming from in the past era. Not necessarily at the same talent level, certainly, because
Right.
I mean Usain Bolt is Usain Bolt, and that's half a poet, that's half a poet. But certainly, there'll be guys there who will be competitive globally for the next few years. So
you want to see that. When you list it that way, it makes it feel as if it's slightly. Well, I don't know if it's going to be better than the women, because the women always find a way to.
Yeah, the women always find a way.
Yeah. There have never been a period where, at least since the modern era, when women were like,
from 2004 until 2 years ago or last year, because Sharika was still winning last. Well, not Sharika last year, 2023. Jamaica's women have always been at the forefront of Jamaica's track and field.
Yeah. I would even go back to the 80s if you think about, Merlene Grace,
Julian Cuthbert,
Bev,
Dion
going
Hemmings,
all of them,
McDonald,
Fenton, Lorraine, everybody. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, between Jamaica's men started at the Olympics in 1948.
Yeah.
And between 1948 and 1980, when Merlene Ottey won Jamaica's first medal as a woman. The first Jamaican woman to win a medal at the Olympic Games. Since 1980 and present, Jamaica's women have outstripped Jamaica's men in terms of medals won at major championships.
Yeah, by far.
By far, too. And if you take Usain Bolt to that equation, it's even worse. But we always get the impression that when our men are not doing well, Jamaica's track and field are not doing well. But they look at the last 10 years, who's been dominated. When it's not Shelley, it's Elaine. When it's not Elaine, it was before it was Veronica.
VCB,
people forget now. Remember, people forget that VCB is the first Jamaican woman to win a global title in the 100 meters in the 2007 in Osaka.
Yeah.
On that line, beating Lauren Williams, right?
Exactly.
And then Shelley became the first Jamaican woman to win an Olympic gold medal in 2008, and she did World Championships 2009, and then 2012 and 2013. By then, Veronica was on her way out.
Right.
Yeah, but in 2019, didn't Veronica win bronze in 200 in a 280?
Of course, in 2020, yeah.
Nobody saw her.
People shouldn't sleep on VCB. VCB, those double junior medals in Chile in 2000, that ridiculous backstretch in Sydney, and as a kid, with Merlene was still there, right? Yeah, Tanya Lawrence, and she goes to 04, second woman to go back to back over 200 meters. It's not a joke athlete, it's one of those things. Yeah,
Jamaica has been blessed with some of the best female athletes, sprinters in history. VCB, Elaine, Shelley, Merlene. Those 4 alone are in a pantheon that very few women belong in. But the men had these massive gaps. After 52, it was Billy Miller in 68.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was Quarry in 76. And then after that, it was Bolt in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So there is massive gaps with the men.
And unless we claim the guys who, like Linford Brisky and Donovan.
And they claim the guys who are Jamaican.
Then, it's a different story, but we can't. We can't.
Linford Christie looking at Ben Johnson, you're looking at Donovan Bailey. Like for example in that 96 final, it was and it's also not Jamaica. If you look at the Caribbean's impact on sprinting,
Obadiah Thompson,
Thompson and Mark Burns, Richard Thompson.
And you go back to Hazley Crawford with the same time with 76.
I mean, when I look at it, is that, like, for example, the 96 final, for example,
Yeah.
you had Michael Green, you had
Atto.
Atto, you
Mm.
had Linford Christie. I'm talking about the Jamaicans now.
Oh,
Pure
the
cricket.
Jamaican
Yeah, yeah.
connection. Yeah. Well, I guess you can
And
claim some Atto too because half of
yeah,
that.
yeah, because so yeah, and then so
My
it's
wife is not going to be happy with that, but yeah.
yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The Jamaican and Caribbean presence in the sprints for as long as I can remember have been there. It's just that Jamaica's men have had these massive gaps where,
Right.
for example, Merlin won bronze in 80, and we look at it across the world, right across the years, right through. Yeah, they didn't win gold medals, but
Yeah.
they were in the medals because
Yeah.
they remember Merlin and Juliet back in 92, Merlin
Right.
in 88, well, Grace in 88.
Grace in
Merlin
88 because Merlin
yeah,
was locked out in
yeah,
88. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. And then came, what was it? Then came Dion Hemmings winning the first gold in 96
Yeah,
at
in
the
96.
400
Yeah.
meter hurdles, and then not very far after that, VCB came into the thing, and then she did her thing until Shelley, and
Yeah.
while Shelley
Melanie
was doing,
Walker
and then
winning
Melanie
stuff
Walker,
too. Yeah. Mm.
Bridget Foster Hilton,
Yeah.
there are raft of women who have won medals for Jamaica outshines the men significantly. So
Yeah.
I think I don't quote me, but I think it was 61% to 39%. I think it is.
Yeah.
The medals won between 1980 and now for the women. So the women have done remarkably well for Jamaica over the years and should be given credit for that.
For sure.
Because, so it is what it is.
I know. Yeah, we probably should too, right? Dynamic is asking this. Let me answer this one. Dwaine and Leighton, with the recent controversy from Gabby Thomas comments, do you think she'll be on the Team USS 4x1? Probably not, but I suspect she'll run 4x4. Yeah. I don't. Look, what Gabby is saying is causing a lot of controversy around the world. I empathize with some of the positions, but also part of that position is slightly naive in the context of here's what
very
I
naive.
on this. You cannot have just immediate bans for people if they take stuff or they're, and you also can't have guilt by association. So the fact that someone might be in the same camp doing things or get caught before, it doesn't mean that everybody is there. We saw it in the Oregon project with Salazar and those guys. Mo Farah said he didn't know anything about it, right? Or whoever. The important thing is, I agree that we can issue lifetime bans to suppliers like agents or coaches, but it has to be, and doctors, but it has to be you have to paint a broad picture where you see it's almost like you have to go for them like you go for the cartels or somebody like that.
Yeah, you have a kind of dots.
Yeah, it must run deep and wide. If it's a one-time occurrence, you just can't go from ban for life. It doesn't work like that, right? And then people inadvertently sometimes, test positive. You have to give them a chance to fight that kind of stuff. And I think
go finish your point because there's something.
So I think that you got to take it in context. I understand that you shouldn't really be in setups if you think that people are doing something to bring the sport in disrepute. But I'm not saying maybe she didn't think it out the way she would have if she sat down and express herself. But you just can't go around doing that stuff. It doesn't work.
Yeah, that's something that you mentioned that I wanted to address as well. There's this thing about where people feel like when an athlete tests positive for something that they are automatically guilty of being intentionally doping.
Yeah.
The rules have been set up to make life very difficult for the athletes. Right? So for example, you go to a restaurant and you eat a steak that was where the cow was boosted up with steroids, which we know a lot of companies do, and you test positive for that. And you test positive doesn't mean that you did it intentionally. There are many instances in where athletes take contaminated supplements that they had no idea about. I remember I was talking to this lawyer, Green, what's his first name again? He represented Asaf and Sharon back in 2013. He was telling me about a case where a supplement company was, I think he won a case against a supplement company because the ingredients that they put on their bottles was not what was in the bottle. You know, athlete take up that in a pharmacy or whatever it is and look, and him go to him coach and him say, yo, look at this and tell him say, yeah, that's all right, man, you can't tell that. I go to him doctor and doctor say, yeah, I can't tell that. And him take it and he test positive. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was intentional. So the intent is when you have this dynamic where like Balco, where there was a deliberate attempt to have the athletes take these things knowingly.
Right.
Like with what's her name again? White. What's her right? Our mother is Jamaican, funny enough. Kelly White.
Kelly White. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Her mother is a Jamaican Olympian. There are all these cases where the intent was deliberate. It's totally different from when an athlete takes something and then they're going to be punished for it when they had no idea what was going on. I mean, you're walking through your life. What was that comment?
No, you were saying, Leighton, don't tell me you believe the oxtail defense. It can happen. No,
it's
it can happen.
Thing.
In some parts of the world, they put certain hormones in, like in the pig. Look, I get it when we look at like Shelby and all those people who talk about the burrito defense and all that stuff. Sometimes they're lying, right? I think there's an explanation you can get off with, and then there's times where some people just say, I ate something that's contaminated, but there's tests to figure that out anyway. Right? Yeah.
Look, when, especially in the US, there's a case where a few years ago where a Trinidad athlete was tested positive for, he was eating horse meat. I don't know if people eat horse meat, but hey, that's what they eat. Yeah. And he tested positive for a steroid that it is known that they use it to lean out the animal.
Yeah.
The steroid helps the animal to burn off the fat so that the meat that they cut is lean and it becomes more attractive and it becomes more easy to sell. And an athlete will ingest it. It's not a fantasy. It's something that having studied chemistry in school and in college, actually, there's a lot of things that will happen in terms of how something that you eat becomes contaminated. Yeah. Even how you package something can cause something to become contaminated. So I mean that's why they have vacuum packed things that potentially can have that contaminant effect. But it is
right, and that's why now, especially as you mentioned the supplements. So now with the supplements, they're WADA approved supplement labs. So and you have the seal, the number, and everything. So if you take it and you get tested and you're like, this was the number, and they verify, they're like, okay, it's not your fault, it's the lab who messed up on it, and so on. I don't think we're making a point that, I guess the point what we're making, just so everyone is clear, people should get in trouble if they take things, right? And there's strict liability for athletes, whether you put it in intentionally or not. But if you can prove that it wasn't intentional, there's mechanisms to get off totally or serve lighter sentences. What we're talking about is referencing the question that I think Dynamic asks about, should you just automatically ban people for life if they test positive, or if they're known to give someone drugs? I suspect, and so the answer to that for me is no, unless we can categorically find out that it's a structure for it, like Balco, or if it's state sponsored, like what we saw in Russia, or if we go back to the 1970s and 80s, then you could say, all right, all those people associated with that should never see the sport again. But if it's like a one occurrence, and probably not, right? Yeah.
Eric Parks is saying, but if you have roids in your body, international, you would have an unfair advantage. Not really, no. Because here's the thing, steroids don't make you run faster. We had the discussion before. Steroids don't make you run fast. What steroids allows you to do is to train more frequently and recover more quickly, so you can get more training time in. So if somebody is tested positive in competition and has steroids in his system, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were taking it prior to competition. I'll give you an example. you don't know those high energy drinks. I think one of them called the little bottles that calls
Oh, the 5 hour
something else.
stuff, 5 hour
Yeah,
energy.
5 hour 5 hour energy. You can take 5 hour energy out of competition and test positive for the substance in there and not be banned because you're not in competition. So let's say, for
It's
example,
like
somebody,
marijuana, right? Like the
yeah,
level of marijuana outside of
yeah.
competition
So
versus.
let's say one day you out of just habit, you drink a 5 hour energy and you say, oh, did I have a meet tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon? And the whatever drink or whatever is in your system.
Yeah.
It don't necessarily mean that you went in with an advantage. It don't make you run any faster. Because I
Yeah.
see a lot of athletes test positive and they were not basically running anything better than what they used to run anyway.
Yeah.
Just a comment about clenbuterol. Who was saying
No, I
that?
think it's no. She was rightly pointing out, or they were saying that's the
Yeah,
substance I believe they put in the meat. So
yeah,
in some
that's
parts of the
exactly it.
world,
Yeah,
I think in Latin America or South America too, they might do
yeah,
that
they do
stuff.
clenbuterol. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
look, I've been known not to support athletes on the oxtail thing or too much stew or what the guy Wilson had talked about. He had stew beef or whatever, but or beef patties. But because you would have to eat a lot for some time for
yeah.
the levels.
Mm.
But in some cases, the levels are low, and they know you can find. Other athletes got off. I don't want to get into all the athletes who have
Yeah,
gotten off.
and
Yeah,
these
but
days, a lot of athletes are microdosing. The athletes who
yeah,
are doping are microdosing. So
yeah,
it's a very gray area. I
yeah,
don't think there's any hard and fast black and white to it. I mean, it's easy to say yeah, ban them because it test positive, but sometimes the testing positive is not intentional. And I
right,
think, like in life, if you go to court, um,
yeah,
and you accidentally use your car and lick down somebody, you might get manslaughter, but you're not getting murder.
murder, right, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So there are different degrees of culpability. So
yeah,
I don't think when an athlete tests positive, it necessarily means that they are guilty of being complicit with
right.
somebody to take steroids and do things. But it's hard on them because the rules are designed
Right.
to punish them regardless.
Yeah, because it's strict liability. Whatever is in your
Yeah.
body is in your body.
Mhm.
But I will say, I just want to finish the point on this. You have to, if you spend some time, if you don't believe us, just look at how the AIU thing is structured, or water, and the whole appeals process all the way up to CAS court for arbitration for sport. There are mechanisms that if you get caught, you start cooperating, we might take your ban down. I think there was an athlete the other day who got tested and she immediately said, I took it. So she gets 3 years immediately
Mhm.
instead of the 4. So, and 4 years is a lot of time in sports.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and if you
Yeah,
get
and
caught again, you might be banned, right, for life. But
yeah,
or maybe
uh,
not really. But yeah,
and the thing about it is that track and field athletes get punished the most severely.
yeah, exactly.
NFL athletes test positive and they miss
Yeah,
10 games.
yeah,
That's just 10 games in one season. A track
yeah,
and field athlete misses 4 years of his or her
yeah,
career. There has to be some level of parity in how you punish athletes,
yeah.
depending on on the circumstances, because not all circumstances are the same.
Exactly.
So you can't punish everybody at the same level. There have to be varying degrees of culpability.
Yeah.
If it's a case like with my what's her name, Marina Ben, what's her last name
Beck
again?
Romanchuk.
Manchuk, right?
Yeah, Beck
Where
Romanchuk. Yeah.
she get banned for 4 years because what?
Yeah.
She's elevated levels of testosterone. She can't explain it. If
And
she
she
can't
won't
explain it,
cooperate.
and
Yeah.
she won't cooperate,
Yeah.
then bye bye. You
Yeah.
know. But if somebody's willing to work with you and say, listen, I don't know it got into my system, but can we work together to find out how it may have gotten into my
Yeah.
system, and then they can establish that what they're saying is plausible.
Yeah.
Then that person shouldn't necessarily get 4 years,
Yeah.
because then they can show that there was no specific intent to cheat, because not every track and field athlete is a criminal. Just like not every person in life is a criminal. It's just us. I just find
Yeah.
the rules are skewed heavily against the athletes, and I think sometimes in many instances unfairly so.
Yeah. No, I think it's very harsh in the sport of track and field, and
Yeah.
but it's also the norms of it. I mean, I don't have time for cheaters, but we understand if it's not deliberate, then there's ways to work around it. Then we've been running for a long time, 2 hours and 20
Yep.
minutes, and this is also why when we talk, it never ends. And So many comments, but unfortunately, we won't get to them. I'll leave you by saying someone gave you work to do on your channel, saying they would love an interview with you and the sports minister on the new national stadium plan. So maybe you got to go out there and do some work.
That's very possible. I could look. I think it's too close to the elections now.
Yeah.
I think if they are returned to Paul, I don't think she'd mind very much. I can always reach out to her. I have her on my speed dial. I can talk to her and find out if she will be willing to do an interview with me on my channel. The stadium plans are exciting, though. I think.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
Details, when you saw the detail of what they plan to do, it's going to become a wonderful first-class, first-world facility.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a significant upgrade on what has been there for the last 60 odd years.
Yeah.
That's good. In fact, I can tell you this. I have a list. It's not on this notepad. It's somewhere there. I have a plan to interview our sports if they return to Paul to interview. In fact, regardless, whoever is sports minister, I want to interview. I want to have a plan to interview the Prime Minister of St. Lucia about the work he's doing in sports. I have a plan to interview Irfan Ali in Guyana because he understands how sports can be an economic driver.
Right, and they got money to know.
And they have money to do it too. So all of those are in my plans for the foreseeable future. Where's my notepad? I could actually show the names that I listed out, all the people I plan to talk to.
Well, this is why they make sure they have to subscribe to your channel.
Yes, please
so
do.
That way they don't miss anything.
Yeah, and look, I know people like short videos, and I think that's where a lot of people need to be. These 3 and 5 minute videos, and there's nothing wrong with those videos. But there are times when an interview is going to require a little bit more gravitas than just like that what you're seeing there. So I want to. I'm going to see if I can arrange a few of those interviews in the coming months, and so if you want to see them, subscribe to the channel. There's Mr. Analyst, and of course, subscribe, and of course, like, and make feel free to comment. Of course, we have an interview on the channel with Kenton Facey, and that talks about how they got sick in Mexico. It's a really interesting story.
It's a good interview too.
Yeah. And we have another interview that I told you guys about earlier this week about Tyrese Taylor's coach, Doug Case, who also coached Omar McLeod to Olympic title in 2016, talking about how he got Tyrese Taylor to drop from 145 to 143.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's coming up by today's Friday, so maybe by Sunday should be up. So all of those interviews are coming up, and I have some lined up for next week. So and obviously we'll have more from the Zurich Diamond League final as well. So
next week is Zurich, and then on to Tokyo.
And then on to Tokyo, and during the World Championships in Tokyo, I'll be doing lives each day. Not necessarily doing, but certainly a short live video just to give my impressions of what I saw on the day, and maybe, I don't know if make predictions is the right word, but give my perception of what could happen, in the coming days, depending on what we saw. So you can look forward to that. But
I'll be doing some stuff too, some watch-alongs and some reaction videos to lives and other stuff. Hopefully people can, and then maybe Leighton and I might end up doing some more stuff because they seem to like this. So we'll see.
Man, for real. I don't know if I'll be able to do lives because I'm going to be working with some people for the World. Should be working with some people for the World Championship. So we'll see how that works out. But I'll certainly be doing some short lives during the World Championships to put some perspective on things that we might be seeing on the channels. So we'll see. Anyway, guys.
Well, we'll call it tonight. Sign off if you want, Leighton.
I'm gonna get some sleep.
All right.
I have a full day tomorrow, and so we'll see.
Same. All right.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys.
Good night, guys.
Good
night, and remember to not beg on to just subscribe to the channel, please. That nigga needs the help.
Support Leighton's channel. Obviously, I love your subscription too, and we'll try to do this again sometime.
Yeah, man, cool. And we can probably do some more lives with Dwayne because obviously we work well together. We can actually do this for 2 hours and change and not be like.
and
I
not
feel,
like,
I feel like we can do some more as well. But
look, when we come,
this
I
week.
have like we have a million things to talk about, and we never quite get to them. So we'll see. All
Yeah. All right,
right.
guys.
See
Have a
ya.
good
Bye
night.
bye.